4 games, all coming down to the final play of the game.
Well, there's one that I could do without. Okay,
Well,
and that was what kicked it all off. And the worst quarterback performance of the weekend by far from one Mr. Ryan Tannehill, who was just awful on Saturday.
You know, for somebody that was trying to sell me on Ryan Tannehill, and I tried telling you, I know they had the number 1 seed, but I rode that dude to the championship of my bad quarterback league, and I would have racked up a ton of points over the weekend with that kind of performance, yet they still had a chance to win.
Well, that's because their defense played so well. I mean, the Tennessee Titan defense played extremely well. They did exactly what they wanted to do there. Tennessee wins ugly. You know, that's how they win. That's what they do. And the defense did its job. They sacked Burrow 9 times. 9 times. How do you win a football game when your quarterback is sacked 9 times? But Cincinnati found a way to do it. Thanks to one Ryan Tannehill, who that last interception, I'm thinking, what in the world are you thinking? Because at worst case scenario, you've got overtime. You know, you don't do anything to jeopardize that. And I know you want to win the football game in regulation. I get all that. But to try to squeeze it into a receiver that has 3 guys all over him is just, I mean, I don't know what you're thinking. He wasn't up for it. He wasn't up for the moment on Saturday.
I've got to applaud you, Joe Reinagle. I really do. This is the beginning of week 4 of the new Blitz with your addition.
Yes.
And it hasn't taken you long to figure out how radio works. And you know damn well that if you didn't come out of the gate shifting to the Titans and Tannehill, that we may or may not and probably wouldn't spend a lot of time on that game because of all the other games that were out there. That, my friends, is a vet move from a radio rookie to get it off his chest about his Tennessee Titans totally crapping the bed in a classic Ryan Tannehill game.
One Tennessee Titan crapped the bed. Ryan Tannehill.
That's all it took.
That's all it took.
All the Dak slander from a week ago. I want to hear your boy. You had so much faith last week in Ryan Tannehill of not screwing things up.
That's what I said,
that's
right?
All he had
to do
is not screw it up.
Not screw it up. And he screwed it up.
Yeah, it's your boy.
And you know what the problem is? I think Tennessee is stuck with him. So, you know, there's a lot in play. I know Vrabel came out and said, you know, Tannehill's the guy that you look for. He's got a lot of qualities that you look for in a quarterback. And,
it is.
Yeah,
he's nice,
except for that
he's
one.
Polite.
Yeah, that one quality of throwing to the other
snacks.
colored jersey.
He's a very giving guy. He's a very, very giving. Look, I mean, I'm with you. And Saturday afternoon, I'm watching that game. You and I had plans to meet up at the bar later. And when you called me, I was like, man, this game is still going on. I can't believe Ryan Eagle's ready to go now, because I wasn't. I thought, all right, as soon as this game is over, I'm going to get in the car, get over to the Rue Pub, and hopefully get there before the San Francisco Green Bay game kicks off. And you called me like at 6. And I'm like, man, you're going early. And so I leave, and then you don't show up till late. I'm like, what happened? I thought you were leaving. I couldn't leave the house, man. I had to stay and watch the end of that game.
And now I wish I would have.
Well, I give you credit, because if my team had wet the bed like that, I don't know that I could have left the house. I don't know that I would have wanted to be around people.
No, so I had to get out. I had to do it. And plus, I told you I was going to come. So, I mean,
yeah.
You know, I'm going to do that. And I just soon had to drown my sorrow somewhere. It's either going to be at the house or at the Rue Pub. So I decided to be around people and do it at the Rue Pub. But, you know, I mean, I should have known, too, because the first pass of the game
was intercepted.
The first one.
And the first pass of the second half.
Yes.
Does Elias have a stat on that? How many times has that actually happened?
I not very often.
And his last pass of the game was intercepted. I mean, that was the trifecta. I mean, a triple crown moment.
And that was the one. I mean, I think Tennessee survives. I think they win that football game if he doesn't throw the third one. Okay, it's the third one that was just, it was just awful. I mean, it's just, you know, if you're a quarterback in the NFL and you just make that kind of a stupid mistake, because that's all that was. you check that down. You do something. You don't try to squeeze a football into a receiver who has three guys around him. It's just terrible.
Funny. When I'm talking about another quarterback, throw it to the guy. Let him go make the play. Let him go make that play. Throw it in there. You're a good quarterback. It is interesting, but we've exhausted our time for Tennessee because the other games, and granted, Cincinnati and Joe Burrow, an incredible moment. That kicker, the cockiness from that kicker, I loved it. He didn't watch that kick go through. He celebrated as soon as his foot hit that ball. He knew it was going through. And apparently, he told Joe Burrow, I took a warm-up swing. Guess we're going to the AFC Championship game. I appreciate the confidence / cockiness of the Cincinnati kicker. And with the Bills out, I think, although it'll be short-lived on their bandwagon, I've been a Bengal fan now for about 9 minutes. There's something about that team that I like.
Well, I like it too. They've got some good young stars, right? I mean, we talk about Burrow, who's got to be.
I won't pick them to beat Kansas City. I promise you that.
Yeah. Well, speaking of young stars, we saw a couple of them last night, but hold with Cincinnati there. Joe Burrow's got to be the toughest guy in the NFL right now. 9 sacks, and he was harassed all day. And he just keeps getting up and keeps making throws and making plays. And so, yeah, I became a Joe Burrow fan. But, I mean, it's not just that. I mean, Jamar Chase, who was relatively held in check. But then you got T. Higgins, who picked up the slack there. Joe Mixon is a good running back. So they've got a good team. Are they good enough to beat Kansas City? That's another question entirely.
It really is. And let's talk about that Chiefs game, because all week last week, Kansas City Buffalo was billed as the game, right? The de facto AFC championship game. Hell, that might have been the best Super Bowl. Like, can we get a best of 7 out of those teams playing a game like that? And we'll get to, Aaron Rodgers losing in the playoffs again, and, the Rams hanging on to beat Tampa Bay and what that could mean for Tom Brady. But Kansas City Buffalo, and I even tweeted out, man, after the early game, I was like, man, I don't disappoint, KC Buffalo. I mean, all these games have been incredible.
They heard you.
And I'll tell you what, that Kansas City Buffalo game, best game ever. You could argue a lot of things, certainly most entertaining, but I go back, everybody's talking about the final 2 minutes, which was insane. And, as a guy that used to broadcast arena football games, seeing a couple of touchdowns in the final 2 minutes is nothing new.
Right.
But you don't see that in 11-man football on a full football field, 13 seconds, what could be done there. But I go back to first quarter, the ability of Patrick Mahomes to improvise. On a 3rd and 3, nobody's open. He scrambles and gets that rushing touchdown diving for the pylon. If he throws an incompletion there and they settle for 3, but I just think that touchdown changed everything for Kansas City and what they wanted to do against that number 1 defense, because every time he scrambled the rest of the game, the Bills kind of froze a little bit because they were so worried he would beat them with his legs. They left guys open trying to protect against the run. And that first scramble for a touchdown, you could just see a little bit of a difference in how the Bills defense played when Patrick Mahomes got on the run.
What I loved about watching that football game, and I see 2 quarterbacks who just refuse to lose. Both of those guys refuse to lose. The confidence of Josh Allen is off the chart. I mean, this guy he's just, the confidence just pours off of him. It was incredible to watch everything that he did. And I got to be honest with you, and I think everybody else on the planet too, when they score with only 13 seconds left, game over. Buffalo's going to move on. There's no way. Even Kansas City, I guess, had 3 timeouts left, 2 or 3 at the time. And so even with that, there's no way. Not with the number 1 defense on the field. And somehow, some way, Patrick Mahomes gets it done.
He does. And I'll tell you what, number 1 defense, it was on the defense to get the stop.
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't know how else to couch it. And really, And Tony Romo was on it immediately.
Yeah.
And I was yelling it at my TV. You know, my deaf dog and my wife are the only ones that heard me. But why didn't you squib kick it there? A squib kick, at the very least, is going to take 2 seconds off the clock because you catch it and then you kneel down. As soon as you touch it, the clock stops, and then that kneel down. I think all the different stuff that you look at, and every coach that talks about time is going to say that. But if they squib kick it and a guy tries to return it, you're looking at 3, 5, 6 seconds, and maybe Mahomes only has one play with those timeouts. And after the game, it certainly seemed like Sean McDermott wanted a squib kick there. He just didn't get the squib kick there. Maybe, Pledge? Well, maybe we won't get to hear from Sean. Who knows? We got to push all the right buttons. I don't know.
It's pushed, he said.
Yeah, they all might be pushed. Hang on. Sometimes my fancy computer, you gotta close out of something and then open it back up. Here we go.
Yeah, we talk about a lot of things, Mike. I'm just going to leave it at the execution, and that starts with me.
Yeah, that starts me. It's the execution.
Yeah.
So did everybody know they were supposed to squib it except the kicker?
The kicker's the only guy that didn't, I guess, because he kicked a nice, beautiful kick all the way through the back of the end zone, and 0 time comes off the clock. Yeah, you can blame that. Okay, squib kick, whatever. Does that make it? It's kind of like, you know, and I don't want to go back to the Cowboys game, but it's kind of like that. You know, do you run a quarterback draw in that situation? Did the official blah, 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 blah? Okay, the fact of the matter is there's 13 seconds on the clock. You can't stop Patrick Mahomes from going 50 yards in 13 seconds.
Well, and again, the number one defense and a guy in Leslie Frazier who is getting talked a lot about for head coaching opportunities, and why not? I mean,
sure,
he's got the number one defense. He's there, but you know, in all these games this weekend, we saw a lot of situations where it felt like the coach called something dumb. Now, if it was a Mike McCarthy coach team, we would all be blasting the head coach.
Sure.
Right? But you don't hear the blasting of it, although they've got timeouts. Why are you protecting the sidelines and giving the middle of the field wide open? And as Rex Ryan was talking about this morning on Get Up with Greeny, why are you rushing 4 guys? He doesn't have time to scramble. That ball's coming out quick. Put more guys in coverage. Rush 2. That's all you really need to do. But those 2 plays, I think, were on Leslie Frazier and the defense he called in the moment. And then, of course, they kick the field goal, go to overtime. And, of course, that creates the new narrative of fans crying now to change overtime rules in the playoffs only. I'm not in that boat, but I understand where that comes from, because I sure would have loved to see Josh Allen with the chance to respond.
Well, and again, if you want to see Josh Allen with a chance to respond, that number one defense needs to make a stop. I mean, you know the rules. It's not like we can talk all day about changing the rules and doing this or doing that. You got the number one defense. Okay, you've got that. All you have to do is make a stop, force Kansas City to kick a field goal. Guess what? Josh Allen gets his opportunity. So, you know, you play within the rules as they are. You may not like them. Maybe they get changed. But yesterday, those were the rules. The defense knew it. The Buffalo Bills knew it. Everybody knew it. So you play to that. The defense has got to make a stop. That's just the way it goes. You can't change it. They didn't do it. Mahomes steps up. The pass, the catch that Kelsey makes in the end zone was spectacular, keeping 2 feet down. And it was just a great game. So, you know, everybody wants to try, and I love it, and it's great for our business, and I'm glad. But, you know, everybody wants to say, well, if this was different, or if that guy would have done that, or if he would have done this, or you know, it would have turned from night to day, you know, they would have changed everything. Well, guess what? It didn't. We played within the rules, and that's what happened. And it was a great performance by both of those football teams. Kansas City just had the last laugh.
Do you want to see the rules changed on the Kielbasa Bacon phone lines? 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776 on Twitter. He is at JoeKens5. You can tweet at me at Jason Minix. Kansas City got burned by that same rule a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Mahomes never got a chance to see the ball. Now they've benefited from that. we can blame the defenses and get a stop, but as hot as those offenses were at the time and as tired as those defenses were,
Sure.
I don't know that anybody was getting a stop. I don't necessarily know, although I wasn't ready for that game to be over. Give me more of that.
No, me too. Yeah.
But at the same time, I think about, what was it, 9 overtimes between A&M and LSU?
Yep.
I look at what the overtime rules were in the Alliance and what the XFL is going to do with their overtime rules, which is kind of like a shootout in soccer or hockey, where everybody gets the ball at the 5. You get one play, you got 5 chances, and you get 2 points per. Something like that. That's entertaining, and you don't just feel like you got robbed. I'm not a Bills fan. I can only imagine what a Buffalo Bill fan feels today, that their quarterback, that Josh Allen, didn't get a chance to respond. That game was decided because his one mistake is he called tails instead of heads, because you kind of knew nobody was getting a stop. Whoever won the coin toss was going to win that game. It wasn't going to be a field goal. There wasn't going to be a punt. You knew whoever won the coin toss was going to score a touchdown and walk out of there with the W.
Hey, that's,
As a football fan, though, I feel a little cheated that's how it ended.
I don't feel cheated at all. I mean, how can you feel cheated when you see a performance like that in a big game like that from a young quarterback who's been there before? He makes all the plays that he needs to make. And then the pass to Kelsey, the catch from Kelsey. It was
all of it.
Dude, it was just fabulous.
The 60-yard whatever catch and run by Hill. I mean,
exactly.
I mean, there were some plays in there. But again, sometimes no matter what you're doing defensively, offensively, those guys are just making plays and there's nothing you can do about it. And it kind of felt both defenses were in that boat. No matter what they did, the way that offense, those quarterbacks were dealing it and the receivers were playing, doesn't matter what your defense was, you weren't going to get a stop.
I don't like the quirkiness in the NFL that the XFL is going to do. That's great for the XFL. They need stuff like that.
Sure.
The NFL doesn't. So if you want to make it the same as a field goal thing, I'm not opposed to that. I would like to see that each team get a possession no matter what. All right. Kansas City goes down and scores a touchdown. Buffalo gets a chance to respond. I'm okay with that. I just think, you've already played 60 minutes of football.
And you're tied.
Right. You're tied, but then you've got to play another. What do you want to do? 15 minutes?
Well, I mean,
no clock.
It's in the playoffs. In the playoffs, I could see the NFL, and what I find interesting is they've tried to get this rule changed before, and the competition committee has said no. And sometimes I do wonder if it's because the TV windows are very strict within the NFL,
true.
Where this game has to end by a certain amount of time, right? So I do wonder if having an unlimited overtime period, I think I'm a big hockey guy. You get into the playoffs in hockey, and those games could go 2 overtimes, 3 overtimes, and be hours longer than what the scheduled broadcast window is. I wonder how much the TV executives have a say in this. Like, no, man, because we're promoting our new episodes of NCIS tonight. We can't have this game run long.
Well, I've seen the ratings, and then nobody cares. Okay, I think everybody would have liked to have seen
more
Josh
football.
Allen.
Although, hell,
with a chance to respond.
They might still be playing.
Well, no, well, and you could be. So say we do that. I'm just speculating here, right? So both sides get a possession. Then Josh Allen, he goes down and scores, and we're tied again. Then do both guys get a possession after that, or do you go sudden death?
At that point, sudden death.
Okay.
At some point, you got to have sudden death.
I'm okay with that.
It just feels, I feel as a football fan, cheated that we never got to see Josh Allen in that situation. And I can only imagine how beside myself I would be if it was Dak Prescott sitting on a sideline with never an opportunity in a playoff game to get his hands on the ball, as hot as he was in the fourth quarter, as hot as Josh Allen was.
Has Dak Prescott ever been that hot?
Dude, that's not what I'm saying.
I'm just asking you.
I'm just saying. Take your Ryan Tannehill and shove it.
It was just a question.
I'm just saying. Yes, he has.
He has?
Yeah. Did you see that Philadelphia game?
Oh,
did you see that Washington game? I mean, but
in a game that mattered.
Well, no, but that's what I mean. That game was over, and as great as it was, I felt so bad for Josh Allen not having the opportunity to respond. His mistake was on the coin flip.
Well, yeah, I disagree with you there. That's the rules that happened. He lost a coin flip, and then the defense couldn't stop Patrick Mahomes. That's how I look at it. And Patrick Mahomes made the plays along with all the weapons that he has at his disposal, and that's how it ended. So, I loved it. I did not. Sure, I would have liked to have seen Josh Allen respond, but as the rules are stated now, I was perfectly okay with the fact that Kansas City won that football game. Because I picked them too, by the way, and you picked Buffalo, so that was even sweeter.
I was 1-3 on my picks this week.
I think I was too.
Oh, I know. Somebody talked me into taking Tennessee.
No. I think you were 0 this weekend, weren't you?
No, I had the Rams beating the Buccaneers.
That's right. Okay, so I was 2-2 then.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, that's right.
Yeah, Rams did beat Tampa Bay. Matt Stafford should get a lot more credit than what he is today.
I agree with you
This
totally.
football game should not be what is the future of Tom Brady today. This football game should be about that throw that Matt Stafford made to Kupp with the game on the line, the onions that Matt Stafford showed, the trade in the offseason for him to go from Detroit to the Rams with the expectation that he would get them to this point and beyond. But Matt Stafford played a hell of a football game yesterday. And other than his wingman and Dan Orlovsky, nobody is giving him any credit today for the game that he played.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but that's going to be the we're about storylines, right?
Yeah.
So Tom Brady's the storyline. Is he going to come back or not? Then you're talking about Aaron Rodgers. I mean, is he going to play for Green Bay again, or did he play his last game in Green Bay? So, those are the storylines. But I agree with you. And again.
And how sweet is it that Aaron Rodgers says, let's just skip over to that game. Aaron Rodgers, like we walk. There's a guy that works here. His name is Arnie PCP. We call him the Polish Cheesehead Princess. That's what PCP stands for. I'm not in the building 5 minutes, and Arnie's just chirping. I hate Aaron Rodgers. That guy's and you just knew it was going to be one of those kind of days. It was just brutal, right? Just brutal. Aaron Rodgers, everything was set up for you. I don't want to hear about special teams today, and we'll get into all that. But you're Aaron Rodgers. You're probably going to win MVP.
Yes.
And your offense scores 10 points.
Yeah.
You get a touchdown on the opening drive, and that's all you do in none-degree weather against your kryptonite, the San Francisco 49ers, the team that didn't draft you, that you wanted to be drafted by, that you said, I'm going to make them pay.
They've never beaten San Francisco in the playoffs. I think
Green Bay's 4.
In the playoffs, right?
In the playoffs.
So, and we're watching that game. And when Green Bay just drives down the field, scores a touchdown on an opening drive, I'm going, San Francisco's in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And it looked like Green Bay had a lot of other opportunities in that first half to add points, and they just couldn't get it done for whatever reason. Credit that San Francisco defense. They're good.
I'm no quarterback coach or guru, but it certainly felt like Aaron Rodgers was just trying to throw to one guy. It certainly felt like he had receivers that were open, but he was trying to force it into Adams. And I kind of go back to what San Francisco did to Dallas. They said, hey, we're taking away these two, man. Throw it all you want to Cedric Wilson. He's going to be wide open. Well, that was Lazard, who seemed to be wide open the entire, and Aaron just refused to throw him the football.
Well, Adams had a pretty good game, didn't he? I mean, I'm not sure what he ended up with.
Game on the line, he got a wide open Lazard, and Adams that was double covered.
Well, it was interesting being at the Roo Pub because it was split. There were Packer fans, Niner fans, and it was a lot of fun.
Although a nice, respectful crowd. I was never worried that it was going to get ugly.
No, I wasn't either. I felt perfectly comfortable. It was great.
We'll talk a lot of football today here on the Blitz, obviously. Mondays with the Moose. Daryl Johnston, Cowboys 3-time Super Bowl champ, will join us coming up at 5:30. But there's some interesting news concerning one head football coach. Could he end up in Dallas? We'll get into that as we continue here on the Blitz. You know, injuries do happen. If you twist, pull, pop, or snap something, you need Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Dr. Espinosa treats all non-surgical orthopedic injuries, and he has same-day and next-day availability. Telemedicine services are also available. There's no reason for you to be in pain. If you're hurting, visit Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. And if surgery is needed, you'll get referred to a specialist to get you out of pain. Schedule an appointment by calling 210-804-5490, 804-5490, or learn more online at tsaog.com. That's tsaog.com. Sean Payton, what's his future in New Orleans? We'll talk about it coming up after Sports Center from James Pledger.
Thanks a lot, Jason. We'll start things off in the NFL, and after a great weekend, we have some other news involving Cowboys defensive coordinator Dan Quinn, who is a finalist for both the Broncos and the Bears jobs, this according to reports. The Houston Texans have requested a second interview with Eagles defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon after league sources say Gannon knocked it out of the park in his interviews with them. In the NBA, the San Antonio Spurs went 0-2 over the weekend, falling to the Nets and 76ers last night. They'll return to action tomorrow when they take on the Houston Rockets. I'm James Pledger for San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Why does Walgreens offer copays as low as $0 and 90-day refills? Because we care about Medicare, so you don't have to. I mean, do you really care to hear me go on about same-day prescription delivery making your life easier? Or how there's a pharmacy expert available 24/7 and one-click refills? Well, I just did anyways. Fill your Medicare prescriptions with Walgreens and save.
$0 copays apply to Tier 1 generic drugs and select plans with Walgreens as a preferred pharmacy. Restrictions apply. See walgreens.com/Medicare for complete details.
Exergen would like you to know about an important study just released by the FDA. It confirms what the medical community has known all along. Non-contact thermometers are not accurate. The study also reports that they fail to meet FDA requirements for accuracy in labeling. We can't afford to tolerate the rampant false temperature readings from non-contact thermometers. Accurate temperature measurements are essential. You need Exergen thermometers because they are accurate and backed by over 100 clinical studies. Be sure, be accurate with Exergen. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Was the guy who wrecked the company vehicle distracted because he was too busy making a TikTok video instead of watching the road? He still only has 2 followers, his mom and dad. But now you're hurt and need help. If you or a loved one is hurt in a wreck, don't call just any dude. Call the dude. The personal injury dude. Mark Poling at Poling Law PLLC at pidude.com. That's pidude.com. Or call 210-201-0303 24 hours a day.
Are you thinking about selling your car? Don't get tricked with 2-minute offers only to spend 4 hours at a dealership. I want you to check out my friends at Car Zeus. It's Rudy J here. Car Zeus is not a dealership, so you don't need to worry about shady sales tactics just to lure you in the door. I'm talking about saving you time and hassle. Simply fill out a form about your car's condition at carzeus.com, and a local agent will text you an offer during business hours. No obligation. Plus, they pay the same day and even provide a courtesy Lyft ride home. That's carzeus.com.
Joe Reinagel, Jason Minix, The Blitz on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
It is The Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. He is Joe Reinagel. I'm Jason Minix.
Why can't every NFL weekend be like this one?
Oh my goodness,
dude! I'm telling you, that was spectacular. And
I tell you what, if every weekend was like this in football, you would see more cardiologist commercials as opposed to ED commercials. I mean, let's be honest. I don't know if we could take 18 weekends of that.
Woo. And, I didn't think it would get any better than that Raiders-Chargers game, during the regular season. Uh-huh. And that was incredible. And then you've got last night. It was just outstanding.
It made up for the first weekend of playoffs.
Yeah.
It really did. To have 4 games all come down to the final play and 3 road teams get wins in the playoffs. That's pretty incredible. And As a football fan, that's what you want.
Absolutely.
Especially when you don't have the ability to jump over to red zone. You don't have the, all right, well, this game kind of sucks. Let me see what's going on in red zone, or let me see what's going on one of these other games. I mean, you got one game, and if it's a dog, and let's be honest, that the first game yesterday was a dog at halftime. I mean, Tampa Bay was getting their butts kicked.
Yeah, they were. They sure were. And then, but, did you ever really count them out? For a couple of reasons. First of all, for a couple of reasons. Tom Brady,
it's
number
Tom
one.
Brady,
right?
and it's the Rams.
And it's the Rams. Okay. Because if you were a Rams fan today, you're going into the NFC Championship game. I almost hope we don't get a big lead, right? You almost hope the Rams don't get a 3-touchdown lead or whatever, because they have a really difficult time hanging on to them. The same thing against San Francisco, right? 17-point lead. And they blow that, and the Niners come back and win the game and in the playoffs. And guess what? They sneak into the playoffs, I'll say they earned their way in.
They snuck in.
Certainly, they sneak in.
They snuck in.
And now they're in the NFC Championship game.
Because in reality, had the Rams held on to that 17-point lead and beaten the 49ers, they wouldn't be in the playoffs
That's right
now. New Orleans would have been in the playoffs, and they would have been ousted in the first round because they're not very good. And because that didn't happen, the Saints not a playoff team, lots of questions about their coach. And I find it interesting because there's been a variety of stories involving Sean Payton so far this very short offseason. And I say offseason for the non-playoff teams. And it feels like every couple of years there is the story about, could the Cowboys make a trade for Sean Payton? He is under contract. The Cowboys would have to give up some compensation. It's happened many times in the past where a team has essentially traded for a head coach.
Yep.
We know Sean Payton still has a home and his family stays there in Southlake. He's never become a full-time New Orleans resident. There is a connection between him and the Joneses. And Jerry kicks himself that he let Sean Payton out of the building, especially seeing what Sean Payton has become. And quite frankly, with Drew Brees now at NBC, what's holding Sean Payton to New Orleans? So there's always those articles and those storylines, which seems far-fetched, although they could happen.
Sure.
So you're saying there's a chance.
Yes.
But then there's some stories out there that the New York Post media writer, the one that seems to break every story, that if Troy Aikman leaves Fox and goes to Amazon, that Fox's number one guy to replace him is Sean Payton. Well, that offers up a very different dynamic when you look at what those guys are making now. Tony Romo has set the bar very, very high.
Very high, yes.
It doesn't feel like Peyton Manning wants a job where he has to work every week, and a job that doesn't include his brother. So who would be the next guy to replace Troy if Troy was to jump over to Amazon, or if he stays at Fox? Amazon's going to go after the next big thing and money whip him, right?
Sure.
Could it be Sean Payton?
It could be. And I think there's other outlets that would go after him as well. I mean, why wouldn't CBS go after him as well? Because he would be good. He'd be very good at it. But, and that begs the question too, and I think it's funny because, maybe he goes into TV for a year. You get that contract thing washed away, and then you can go to work for somebody else if that's what you want to do. I mean, Sean Payton's still a young guy. He's 58 years old, right? I mean, he's got a lot of time left.
Only you would call 58 young.
As NFL coaches go, right?
Sure.
Because most of them stay around till, they're well in their
Bruce Arians
70s.
age.
Right. So Sean Payton's got a lot of years left if he chooses to coach. But, let's face it, too. In the booth, for those guys, it's a pretty cushy job.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to make a lot of money. You're going to work maybe 3 days a week. And it's a pretty cushy job.
It is a cushy job. It doesn't help that Gail Benson, the owner of the New Orleans Saints, was at some function over the weekend. And the reporter asked her about Sean Payton's future.
No, Sean, we don't know. Who knows? We'll find out soon enough, I guess. I don't think any of us know, but he'll let us know soon enough.
Well, she was sure laughing a lot there.
I don't know Gail Benson well enough to know what the hell was that. Well, I mean, was she completely taken off guard and was like, "Well, I can't believe you're asking me about that."
Yeah.
I mean, what? I got a booger on my face. What is this? I don't. For her though to say, Sean, he'll let us know, dude. It's your head coach. It's not Aaron Rodgers. I'll let you know by free agency. It's not Tom Brady saying, I need a couple of weeks after the way this season ended before, Giselle tells me if I can play ball again or not. It's your head coach. Your offseason has begun. You've got to make staff decisions. You've got to start preparing for the draft. I hope you would get a little bit more than a giggle and we'll see.
Well, and especially with all the head coaching opportunities that there are right now, right? And a lot of interviews have already taken place, and some of these teams are going to be filling those positions very quickly. The Denver Broncos, I think, might even be first. I mean, they seem to have been the most aggressive thus far, and they've narrowed it down to 3, and one of those 3 includes Dan Quinn of the Dallas Cowboys. So, that's something that that falls on Payton too. Look, if you're going to leave, you should let them know. Don't drag this thing out because it just hurts the organization. I mean, it really does.
It does. But if you're Sean Payton, you've got a job. If Gail Benson were to call Sean today or called him after that gala, Sean, some reporter asked me, what do you think Sean's going to say? Mrs. Benson, I'm not going anywhere. I'm under contract. Meanwhile, your agent's talking to Fox, talking to Amazon, maybe having dinner with
Jerry Jones,
with Jerry or Steven or, whoever it is. I mean, it's not like you're going to tell her, yeah, you know what? Getting some of these TV offers and it looks pretty good.
Why wouldn't you tell her that? You're under contract. She can't do anything. I mean, it just seems to me that if he's going to make that move, it would behoove the New Orleans Saints for him to do that sooner rather than later.
It would. And you would think that Sean Payton would be very open. And in fact, let's take it from the complete opposite angle. Maybe he has told her that, look, if we can get a deal worked out with the Cowboys, don't screw me. I've been here a long time. Or, Drew's awful happy on that NBC set. I kind of want to get into that TV deal. Maybe those conversations are happening, and Gail is trying to figure out ways to keep him, and that explains this giggly answer.
No, Sean, we don't know. Who knows?
I haven't offered him
We'll find out soon enough, I guess. I don't think any of us know.
Martinis in
But you'll
she
let us
is
know
either,
soon.
I'm guessing with those giggles, 3.
That could have been, right? And the other thing, he may have said, look, I can't win with Taysom Hill. He's a nice change of pace guy.
He's the one that's giving Taysom all the money. Taysom's the one with the photos, obviously.
Well, but Taysom, he's a good change of pace guy, right? He's a utility guy. He can play a lot of different positions, but to lead a football team, I don't think Taysom Hill is that guy, and I don't know that Jameson Winston is either. And so that's got to be high on the New Orleans Saints priorities right now. And I think, there's some quarterbacks available. That could make a difference. You get a Russell Wilson in there.
True.
An Aaron Rodgers in there. A good quality quarterback, because that defense is not bad. It's pretty solid. And they got a hell of a running back. So, they're a quarterback away from being a pretty decent football team.
They are. But I also wonder, when it comes to Sean Payton at 58 years old, he has a Super Bowl. He's got all the money in the bank that the guy will ever need, right? The one place where he continues to live is Dallas. If that's his dream job.
Well, would you want to live in New Orleans? I wouldn't.
New Orleans to me is like Vegas, man. That's a great place for a good weekend. I don't know that I would want to live there.
I would not want to live there.
But again, though, if you were looking at jobs right now, because it's not about money. It's not, can Jerry give you a million or $1 more? It's not about money at this point. It's about winning and everything that comes along with it. And keep in mind, Sean Payton came up under Tom Benson. Gail's a new owner. And as Jane Slater told us last week, and she's got a profile piece coming up on the NFL Network, her succession plan when she's gone, with what happens with that team, maybe Sean doesn't want to be a part of that. And he's trying to get out of there.
And here is something that Pledge just put up too. I mean, there's $75 million over the cap.
Yeah, but there's mathematicians that can make that go away. It seems every year teams make that
Yeah, I
stuff
guess
go
so.
away.
But they're last in the league, by the way.
No, they've got a lot of contract gymnastics to do this offseason. That again, competing for Super Bowls doesn't look like, without the addition of a high-priced quarterback that they can't afford as we sit today. What are they going to do, right? If you're Sean Payton, are you sitting there saying, if I had a Dak, a Zeke, a CD, and a Coop, could you imagine what I could do? I mean, because while Jerry wants a walk-around head coach, if he hires Sean Payton is head coach and play caller too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and Jerry knows that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's smart enough to know that, but it depends on what you want, right? And where you want to get. He claims he wants a Super Bowl. So, that may take a Sean Payton. I still think that's a long shot, though. I really do, at least for the upcoming season. McCarthy's there. He's going to be the coach this season. I don't think there's any question about it, but I think he's got to do something other than a quick ouster in the playoffs to keep his job. Because if that happens again next year, he's gone.
I would say that if a Sean Payton became available, Mike McCarthy is out. If they could do that deal, Sean Payton would be out. And I think if you would ask me the same question 5 years ago, Jason Garrett would have been out for a Sean Payton immediately, regardless. I think even if the Cowboys were still in the postseason, if Jerry could get his hands on Sean Payton, he would make that move.
What makes you think Sean Payton wants to coach the Dallas Cowboys? Honestly, I ask that sincerely.
The fact that he's always lived in Dallas.
Okay.
He's always had a tight relationship in Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you've put two and two together, but every year when we're in Oxnard, California, one of the PR interns for the Dallas Cowboys is Sean Payton's daughter, right? The family ties are there and have been. I mean, don't you find it odd that she's working for the Cowboys and not the Saints?
Well, but I think it's interesting that it's okay for the daughter to work for Jerry Jones, but the father may not want to. They're good friends. That's great.
Sure.
They do things, but then, you work for Jerry Jones. It could be a whole different ballgame.
It really could be, but he's a pretty loyal guy. Keeps guys around for a long. I mean, Jason Garrett's a very wealthy man.
Yes.
Because of Uncle Jerry.
No question. And Jerry wanted him to succeed.
Yeah.
I mean, he did. He was rooting for Jason Garrett and
gave him every opportunity.
But
that's certainly a storyline in this offseason that we are going to follow. It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. Coming up, we'll talk with the Moose, Daryl Johnston. He'll join us at 5:30. Those incredible games. But could you imagine being on a cruise ship and get stuck? But it's not the bad thing. Well, it's not like there's something wrong with the ship. It's just a couple extra days of extended vacation. We'll explain as we continue here on the Blitz. Saturday night, Joe and I, we were watching the game at the Rue Pub because I've told you 1,000 times, there is no better place to watch a game than at the Rue Pub at 281 in Redland Road with those three massive 170-inch screens, TVs all around. They always have the UFC fights. So Saturday night, you had football on two of the screens and the fight on one of the screens. It's incredible. And the food, fantastic. That kitchen, everything they make is made from scratch. They have the best and probably the biggest wings in town. About 15 different burgers on the menu, a chicken sandwich that's incredible. They got great appetizers like the Philly cheesesteak fries and the onion rings. They got salads, they got wraps, they got everything. And that kitchen is open late till 2 a.m. every day with the full menu available. Of course, the Rue Pub has all the beers you want, full bar. The game room has the best darts area in town and indoor cornhole. And they have happy hour at the Rue Pub weekdays from 11 to 6. Great for lunch, great for dinner, great for late at night, and certainly the best place to watch a game. The Rue Pub next to the Angry Elephant, 281 in Redland Road. We'll see you at the Rue.
It's heart-stopping, rim-wrecking, ball-arching action.
Ball three, got it!
College hoops are happening, and we've got the action and excitement you love. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Before we rodeo San Antonio, mosey on over to Dietz Tractor. We're busting out of the chutes early with a stock full of LS tractors. And this is no 8-second ride. Take your time and choose from a field that includes compact and utility tractors at low prices. Excel in your field with LS Tractor, 7-time winner of the EDA Dealer's Choice Award. Backed by a limited 6-year warranty, LS Tractors will give you more standard features and more performance for less money. These are some of the hottest tractors around, and Dietz Tractor wants to sell them to you today at unbelievable prices. Dietz Tractor, where you get more tractor for less.
You know, when you need an electrician, Hill Electric is available for you 24/7 for residential and commercial needs. I've used Hill Electric for a variety of projects at my house. They added some extra outlets in my garage when I moved into the new house about 2 years ago. And just recently, they put up a big spotlight, a motion light outside over one of my grills for night grilling. A problem I didn't know I had until the time changed. And now I use that light all the time. In fact, used it yesterday. For over 3 decades, the family-owned Hill Electric has served San Antonio homes and businesses. Whether you need additional outlets or USB ports, you need to fix that fuse that always blows or that flickering light, Hill Electric has the right service at the right price. Never a service charge, always free estimates. If you're a business and you're having to rework the office, let Hill Electric design your socially distant space to ensure each workstation has the proper electrical needs. Call Hill Electric at 210-404-9074, 404-9074, or hill-electric.com.
Not all pizza places are the same. Mellow Mushroom originated hand-tossed, stone-baked classic Southern pizza. Not in the mood for pizza? Order a calzone, hoagie, sandwich, burger, or a mellow salad and see how care goes into every item on the menu. Take your pick from 24 draft beers and or handcrafted cocktails. And many of the pizzas can be made gluten-free or vegan. Mellow Mushroom is at 1604 in Stone Oak Parkway. Hang with friends, watch the game, and mellow out at Mellow Mushroom.
Hey, Jim! Thanks for coming.
Are you kidding? I never miss one of your dinner parties. How's the new job?
We're growing fast, and I stopped working weekends, thanks to how much smoother everything runs on NetSuite by Oracle.
Fantastic. We're still using QuickBooks.
Why haven't you upgraded to NetSuite?
We're making QuickBooks work, sort of.
Shh, watch your language. The kids are right there. Sorry, Amy. NetSuite gives you visibility and control of your financials, inventory, HR, planning, budgeting, and more. NetSuite is everything you need to grow, all in one place. And 93% of surveyed businesses increase their visibility and control since upgrading from QuickBooks to NetSuite.
Yeah, sounds like it's time for me to switch to NetSuite. Over 27,000 businesses already use NetSuite. For the new year, NetSuite has a new financing program for those ready to upgrade at netsuite.com/radar. Head to netsuite.com/radar for this special one-of-a-kind financing offer on the #1 financial system for growing businesses. netsuite.com/radar.
A new year comes with new excitement, new ambitions, new milestones. Is this the year you pop the question, have a child? Celebrate a major anniversary. At Diamonds Direct, we're here for you, now more than ever. With our vast selection of exquisite hand-picked diamonds, our world-renowned designer jewelry collections, our industry-leading warranties and guarantees, and our people. People with a passion for helping you mark any occasion with something that's both meaningful and timeless. And our commitment to providing exceptional value is stronger than ever in the new year. Whether you're just starting out on a tight budget or whether you're splurging on the 30th anniversary gift, Diamonds Direct will make sure you get the price that you expect from America's premier direct diamond importer. Welcome to a new year and welcome to Diamonds Direct, where extreme value combines with the ultimate luxury shopping experience to create that truly magical moment for the milestones in your life. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion. Official jeweler of the Dallas Cowboys at the shops at Lock on Terre.
Rob Thompson and Rudy J. Don't rush. It's R&R in the morning. Tomorrow morning at 7, San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
This is Max Kellerman on San Antonio's Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. He is Joe Reinagle.
Jason, did you know that Bob Dylan is coming to the Majestic Theater?
I did not.
Well, now you do. He is coming to the Majestic Theater. And guess what?
What?
Right here at San Antonio Sports Star, we're giving away tickets. Not this show.
Wait.
Not this show. You got to tune into halftime with Michael Jimenez.
Whoa, what?
All right. All week long for your chance to win. We got a 2-pair for March 13th and 3-pair for March 14th. It's the Rough and Rowdy Ways tour at the Majestic.
We're only giving those away on halftime?
There's
yes. None for R&R in the morning, none for the Blitz. It's all about Jimenez.
It's all about Jimenez.
From what I heard today on his show, is an acquired taste.
Yeah, I guess. Have you acquired that yet?
I'm a big fan of Michael Jimenez.
Absolutely.
I am. Although somebody called it says, Michael, you're kind of an acquired taste.
He is, but the caller also said, I've acquired it.
Yeah.
So that's good. So you can acquire Mike if you haven't yet. Tune in. If you're a Bob Dylan fan, you got a chance to win some tickets. March 13th and 14th. Bob Dylan at the Majestic.
All right. During the commercial break, Joe Reinagel, as we start week number 4 of the new Blitz, said, man, I got to address something in the next one. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Man? I got
See, there you go.
Uh-huh.
Michael Figueroa. Joe is a Cowboys hater. Okay. And the only reason I say that is because yesterday. Yes, you do. The only reason I say that is yesterday I get a tweet from somebody else that says, Joe, why do you hate the Cowboys so much?
Joe, why do you hate the Cowboys?
Let me set the record straight for all of you. Okay. I don't hate the Cowboys. I don't hate the Cowboys.
Do you love the Cowboys?
I don't love them either. I love Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
I do. I'm a big Jerry Jones fan. I don't hate the Cowboys. I love the fact that San Antonio loves the Cowboys. I do. And when they do well, it's good for business. It was good for business when I was in TV, and it's great for business sitting here on the radio as well. What I don't like is that when the Cowboys obviously have some glaring needs, nobody seems to care. I mean, it seems okay with Cowboy fans to not win a Super Bowl for 20 some odd years. And that just seems to be okay.
What Cowboy fan is okay with that?
I don't know. Everybody. Well, because Dak Prescott can do no wrong.
Well,
CD Lamb can do no wrong.
No,
it's true. It's like Zeke Elliott can do no wrong.
See, it's
Mike McCarthy's fault or Jerry Jones's fault.
Non-Cowboy fans that will take everything and twist it because you hate the Cowboys.
I don't hate the Cowboys.
I mean, for example,
I do not hate the Cowboys.
When Arnie PCP was bitching about the Packers today, James Pledger chimes in, well, what about the Cowboys? All right, I mean, we were talking about the Cowboys. And I've said a gazillion times, as I said to Arnie, as he is ready to kick Aaron Rodgers out of the door. He's tired of Aaron Rodgers. It's like, dude, but there is something as great as he is to only have one Super Bowl, to go 30 years between Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers and have one each. You got to feel like you've missed on so many opportunities.
I agree with that.
How many did the Cowboys have in that time? It doesn't matter. We're not talking about the Cowboys. But you Cowboy haters just always want to suck the Cowboys into it and needle them.
I just want to get it on the record. I'm not a Cowboy hater. It's tough love. It's tough love. That's what it is. Tough love.
Jay Glenn on YouTube says Cowboys are easy targets because they're paper champs every year. Absolutely. And you know what the thing is, and we can argue about stuff. If you're not a Cowboy fan, you're a Cowboy hater, right?
No, that's not true, because I'm sitting here right now. I wouldn't say I'm a Cowboy fan, but I don't hate the Cowboys. In fact, I get to know those guys probably better. Well, obviously better than any other NFL team because we cover them.
Yeah.
Right. We're in Oxnard. We're talking to those guys.
Create relationships.
I love those guys.
With the guy. Absolutely.
Dak Prescott is one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. I mean, he's always been very nice, very generous with his time. And most of those guys are. I was a huge Jason Witten fan. Right. I mean, as most people were. What I'm saying is, though, they're professional football players. Well, they're not high school football players.
But here's the thing.
Criticize them when they do wrong. And if it's time to go, if they can't do what's right and get the job done, don't coddle them.
As a Cowboy fan, and I hear this from a lot of fellow Cowboy fans, because I'm hard on the Cowboys, very critical of the Cowboys.
No, you're not.
I am, brother.
You're hard on Mike McCarthy. That's it. It's all his fault.
Dude, I got 14 years of tape that will tell you when it's bad. I'll tell you it's bad. And if
so you hate the Cowboys?
No, I love the Cowboys, but I think Cowboy fans appreciate when I criticize them because they know it's coming from, that peer. When non-Cowboy fans criticize the Cowboy, it's just deemed as you hate the Cowboys.
It is.
And as an Astro fan, same thing. As a Longhorn fan, same thing. And see, Pledge, as a Longhorn fan, understands that, but he can't relate it to the NFL level. In his brain, it just doesn't transfer. Like, yeah, I get it. There is just that thing that is there. And I think a lot of Cowboy haters just get on a cruise ship and don't come back. Like a whole bunch of people that were supposed to come back. They're on this cruise ship, and they've been off enjoying their cruise. It was supposed to come into Miami on Saturday, but a judge there issued a warrant for the Crystal Symphony that said, when it comes into U.S. waters, man, we can seize the ship because apparently they've got a $4 million unpaid gas bill. So
wait a minute, how much?
$4 million.
$4 million
is what they owe. They're being sued for $4 million of unpaid fuel. So the ship coming into Florida got word of the judge. They were still in international waters. They put some passengers on a ferry and sent them off to Florida. Apparently it was a rough ride because of weather. and the cruise ship went to the Bahamas. And some guy on the ship quoted on Facebook, it feels like we've been abducted by luxurious pirates, but they can't get back.
See, that's tough.
They're screwed. These people, they're in the Bahamas. It's a Monday. But they're all scheduled to be done with their vacation and probably at work.
Are they doing anything? Or are they stuck on the ship? It's one thing to be in the Bahamas and you're able to go to the pool and get a drink and go to the beach and do all that stuff. But if you're stuck on the ship, which there's a lot of things to do on the ship, but you know what I mean? It's different. It's kind of like, I was afraid to get stuck in Mexico because you're stuck in a room.
Yeah.
You can't do anything else.
It's, I don't know how they're going to resolve it, what they're going to do, but it's in the Bahamas. They were supposed to get off the plane or off the ship Saturday in Florida.
Can you go gamble? You can gamble in the Bahamas.
You can, and you can gamble on the ship.
You can.
But if you had your airline tickets or a hotel reservation for Saturday night, then you're going to fly out Sunday.
Yeah,
that would suck.
That would
suck. The games this past weekend did not. We're going to go over the 4 playoff games on this epic weekend of playoff football as we continue here on the Blitz. Let me tell you about Quarter Moon Plumbing, Heating, and AC. If you're having issues at the house with your plumbing, your heater, or your AC, or all three, there's one company to call, and that is Quarter Moon at 210-651-5899. At Quarter Moon, they are full service, big job, small job, residential, or commercial. Their service trucks are fully stocked, and they have all the equipment needed for any job. At Quarter Moon, they do not have commission sales reps. They'll provide estimates and second opinions. They have a great experienced staff that has earned an A-plus ranking with the Better Business Bureau. And at Quarter Moon, they are green certified. 210-651-5899 is the phone number. 651-5899 or online, quartermoonplumbing.com.
Omicron has caused games to be postponed, stopped, and rescheduled. The NBA, NHL, NFL, and college hoops have all been affected by Omicron, leaving us fans high and dry.
It's unfortunate, to say the least. You don't know one day to the next what's going to happen.
Will the leagues continue to shut down players and play? Stay connected and talk about it here.
I hate masks, so we'll see how that goes.
San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Hey, Carrie, we need that tax report by tomorrow. Hey, Bobby, give me that expenses.
For Hari's accounting firm, client growth is exponential.
We're a couple of accountants short.
He needs whip-smart accountants at whiplash speed.
Hey, so why aren't these receivables matching up?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hi, I'm Emmitt Smith, Pro Football Hall of Famer and 3-time champion.
Pro Football's all-time leading rusher Emmitt Smith talks about joint pain.
Trust me, I know about joint pain. Sure, I made it look easy, but if my body can speak, it would say, I'm in pain.
Are you living with chronic joint pain? Knees, hips, lower back, shoulders? Don't just assume the old treatments are the only treatments.
I've gone under the knife to get rid of pain, but now there are options, and you need to check them out.
Emmett's talking about QC Kinetics, exciting new natural biologic therapies that can repair and restore damaged tissue in your joints. New options now available here.
You can encourage your body to actually heal itself with the help of QC Kinetics.
Real relief with no surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Call the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics for regenerative restorative treatments with lasting relief.
But now, you and I, we have help. QC Kinetics.
Start now with a free consultation at QC Kinetics. 210-571-0318. That's 210-571-0318. Call today. 571-0318.
This view was worth a hike.
Right? And it's a good way to stay on top of my health.
Yes, I'm Cologuard, a prescription colon cancer screening option for people 45 plus at average risk. Have you screened for colon cancer?
Not yet.
Don't wait. It's more treatable when caught in early stages.
Tell me more.
Cologuard is non-invasive and it's used at home. It detects altered DNA in your stool to find 92% of colon cancers.
92%?
Yep, even those in early stages.
This was seen in a clinical study with patients 50 and older. Any positive result should be followed by a diagnostic colonoscopy. False positive and negative results may occur. Cologuard is not a replacement for colonoscopy in high-risk patients. Do not use if you have had adenomas, have inflammatory bowel disease and certain hereditary syndromes, or a personal or family history of colon cancer.
Most insured patients pay $0. Ask your provider or an online prescriber if Cologuard is right for you, or visit Cologuard.com.
I'm in.
Live, local, loud. KZDC, San Antonio Sports Star. ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. Joe Reinagle, Jason Minix, The Blitz.
And the highlights are on TV right now of that Kansas City Buffalo game. Give me more of that, please. Give me more of that. I mean, that game was as good as whatever James Pledger's wolfing down right now if you're watching on video. I mean, he eats like a basset hound that's been in the pound forever.
And he's skinny.
Did you just see how he ate all that? Were you watching that or the highlights?
Well, I was watching the highlights. But when you said that, I turned and looked.
Yeah, watching Pledger eat,
No,
man.
I
He just
saw him.
doesn't leave up from the bowl. I mean, it's
when
just
we were
like,
at the roof pub, Jason, I had 2 wings left. I said, "Hey, Pledge, here, I'm not going to eat these. I'm full." Dude, before I could turn around and turn back, they were gone. Nothing but bone. It was crazy.
That is our forever and always hungry producer, James Pledger. Never met a meal he didn't like. That's what he does. He is Joe Reinagle. I'm Jason Minix. This weekend, we could do a 10-hour show today. We could go on forever. Although I got to say, as I'm watching games this weekend, and we'll get into all of them. You know, there was 2 games on CBS.
Yes.
And in the middle of the game, it had to have been the Titans game. All of a sudden, congratulations, Joe Reinagle, on 25 years
Wow.
of Ken's TV. Then they announced the retirement, and there's old video of you wrestling with Iggy, the old iguana, back in the day, and all these highlights, singing out at Wolf Stadium, and all the different things that you were doing. And then I see you at the Roo Pub that night, and I'm like, dude, did you help put those together? Did you know they were coming? I mean, well done, Ken's TV. Well done. Those promos were great.
They did a great job. Don Smith is the head of the promotions department, and so he's got a bunch of talented folks over there. They're really good, and I really appreciate it. But let me tell you how I know nobody was watching that Titans game. Everybody was watching the Kansas City game. You know how I know? I got 0 phone calls, 0 texts when it ran during the Titans game. My phone blew up when it ran during the Chiefs game last night. So there you go.
Are you kidding?
I'm not kidding. That is a true story. So nobody was watching Saturday afternoon, the Titans-Cincinnati game. Everybody on the planet was watching KC Buffalo.
Well, all right. So the truth is, none of your friends were watching the early game because at the bar, 6 or 7 people.
True. That's
hey,
true.
man,
Yeah,
congrats.
That's
I
true.
just saw you're going to retire.
That's true. That's true.
But nobody bought you a beer, which kind of pissed me off.
Nobody.
I thought,
Did you?
I bought you beers.
Yeah, you did.
I did.
You did.
I got my tab at the end of the day.
You did.
We were supposed to be sharing. You get around, I get around, you get around, I get around. I don't know, somehow.
Well, it worked that way. I mean, you heard me tell, every time we ordered, hey, it's on my tab. Well, I go up to the tab, and I even told you, because when they handed me my tab, it's because I had a nice buffalo chicken sandwich too, right?
Yeah.
And you didn't eat. And so I said, hey, Jason, man, I think you got screwed, buddy, because my tab wasn't very big.
You get the next one. Yeah, you get the next one. That is for sure. But what a great weekend of watching football, and hats off to Ken's. Although, can you talk to somebody over to say you can't watch them anymore, but you can listen to them weekdays from 4 to 7?
A little plug.
Yeah, how do we get that in? The greatest part about that promo is the video going from like standard def to high def, and quite on you. I want to say you haven't changed in 25 years until I saw the promo. I mean, you've always looked the same to me, but I see that promo and I'm like, all right, who is that young kid?
I don't know who that young kid is. When I saw that, some of those things, it's funny because 25 years is a long time, obviously, but I see that promo and it's like, I did that. Yeah, I don't remember doing that. The whole Iggy thing, I vaguely remember that. And so it's just crazy though when you see stuff like that and you kind of forget that that's what you used to do.
I'm impressed that Ken still has all those old videotapes.
Absolutely.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
And some poor intern or whoever had to sit through hours and hours and hours of Reinagel cuts to come up with 30 seconds of funny.
That lucky intern. How in the world do you get that job? I mean, you'd volunteer for that job, wouldn't you?
No.
Pledge would volunteer for that job.
No.
To just look at Joe Reinagel all day long. That'd be great.
I mean, but to go through, I mean, they probably had to go in the back engineering room and find a machine that could play some of those old tapes.
We have old tape machines there.
Are they still there? Because I imagine most everything now is computerized.
Well,
but back then it was tape.
But in Capture, in Capture, and you know where Capture is.
Yeah.
Right? In Capture, there's about 3 of those old machines because, well, you know where the vault is. In all the vault, we've got tapes going back, late 80s.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah, we've got all that stuff there, but you have to play them in that tape. Then you put them on the computer and then edit from there.
Yeah. That job would suck.
That job would be great.
But let's think about, you told them a while ago that you were leaving. They announced it, the second day we were doing this show.
Yes.
And it's now the 24th. So it took some intern 3 weeks basically to go through all those old tapes. Don't you figure that project started the day after the press release went out?
Well, probably so, yeah, or shortly thereafter. So,
and they didn't send it to you to, hey, Joe, what do you think of this?
No, and I'm happy they didn't, right? So you just see it on there, and I saw it by mistake because Maggie and I were at the house, but we were doing some other things, and I had the game on, and I'm watching it. Well, it was halftime when it came on in both games, so we have that. CBS allows us that little spot there to get something in. So, yeah, it was nice. So I appreciate it.
So you were in the kitchen.
I wasn't in the kitchen. We actually we purchased an outdoor heater, one of those propane heaters.
Yeah.
And so I was trying to put that thing together, and I'm not very good at that. Let me tell you. The worst part about that is
it'll be ready for summer.
It might be, or next winter. Yeah, I'm going to get it ready for that. But the worst thing about that, some of the parts come with this cellophane glued to it
that you got to try to peel off.
It took me 30 minutes to get that stuff off. I mean, when they put that on there, man, it's on there.
So what I just heard is the newlywed Joe Reinagel was putting together the heat lamp that she purchased in the one game that he wanted to watch. That's your team. That was the Titans.
No. It was halftime, Jason. Okay, I don't care about halftime. Do you?
No.
All right, I don't want to hear Boomer Esiason. I don't want to hear Boomer Esiason say how great his Cincinnati Bengals are again. All right, can we stop that?
But you started a project at halftime. Halftime isn't long enough for you to put together a propane thing.
I didn't know that.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't. Yeah, but if you know where I have it, though, I wasn't outside. I was inside, right? I was right there. The TV is like almost as close as I'm sitting to it right here. So it's not anything.
Is it put together?
No, it's not. So It's not put together because I need some tools.
Uh-huh.
All right. Maggie.
We'll have it put together by the time you get home
She
from
might.
work.
Well, that's kind of the plan. But no, she's got a big tool box, right? But
she does.
There's no pliers in there, and there's no crescent wrench. And I needed both.
Oh, you needed both.
Yeah. So I've got to make a trip to Home Depot or Lowe's, whichever is your favorite, and pick up those items. And then I can knock that baby out in about 5 minutes.
James, really?
Absolutely.
James
Come
Pledger
on.
says halftime isn't long enough to unbox it.
Exactly. And then to take that cellophane stuff, and anybody who's put one of those things together knows exactly what I'm talking about, because that is a pain in the behind. I'm going to tell you what. It takes a long time. Jason, somebody defend me, please.
Nobody's going to.
Somebody's got to defend me, because you know that that it is tough to pull that cellophane stuff off of there.
Yeah, that's so challenging. It is. It's a pain in the ass. But you don't do it during a football game, and certainly not during halftime of the football game. Halftime, you're getting your beers ready. You can. We all know you're not a handyman. I'm not a handyman either. I am not making fun of you at all for.
Yeah, you are. But that's okay.
I am not making fun of you for not getting it put together. I'm making fun of you for attempting to appear to be starting a project during a football game. Well, during your game, it's your Titans.
Once I told Maggie that we didn't have the proper tools, she was cool with that.
Maggie probably said, "Do you know what the proper tools are?"
Yes, I said I need a crescent wrench and I need some pliers.
Who has a toolbox without those two items? Those are the basics.
Maggie.
Where's the Joe toolbox?
I don't have a toolbox.
Exactly.
I don't have one.
Exactly.
So, now I'm going to go get my own crescent wrench and my own pair of pliers. Okay?
Just
that's my start.
Have Maggie video you putting this thing together.
Okay.
We need.
You're going to be impressed.
We need some content.
You
don't call me to ask for help.
I won't. You'd be the last guy I'd call.
Yeah, because
I promise you. You just sit there and drink beer and watch.
Well, yeah. Yeah. What else? Years and years ago, a group of us went over to Joe's house to help him hang a ceiling fan. It didn't stay on the ceiling.
No.
We thought it was.
Yeah, that was.
I remember, I forget who was holding it up, gets all tight, it's ready to go, comes down off the ladder, turn it on.
Yeah.
Crap.
That's why people have jobs. And I like to support people's businesses. Yes. With stuff like that. Handy folks. Yes.
There used to be a great app pre-COVID that I used a lot of, where it was, you just get on the app and find a workman for whatever your project is. They told you the price, they came, they fixed whatever you needed. And it went away during COVID, that company. That was a great plan.
But there's people out there that do it, because I told you we bought a table from Home Depot. It's an outdoor table with a fire pit.
Oh, nice.
Right? And so it's really nice. So Maggie and I are working on this thing out there. And then I said, baby, I'll put together the chairs. Don't worry about it. So it took me about 3 hours to put one of the chairs together. And I said, the hell with this. So I said, I'm not doing this. I mean, it was a pain. And I knew it too, because we go down to Home Depot and pick this thing up. They got to get a forklift to pick this thing up, and it's a huge box and boxes.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh my gosh. Can you never just buy something that's already put together?
Yeah, $79 for assembly and delivery is worth it.
Is that all it is?
Yes.
Well, now I know.
I mean, I don't know.
So we call a guy over, right? And he does the other 3 chairs. And so now we enjoy that table quite often. And as soon as
how's that 4th chair work?
No, they're all great. They're all great, right? The fireworks. And now that I've got the heater that I'll have put together shortly, then it's going to be a nice outdoor
area
at the Ryan Engel household.
And then when you buy your new grill, pay for the assembly.
I will. I will definitely do that. So when I get my outdoor area, it's one step at a time. Then the Traeger is next, or something like that.
I paid a dude $75 to come put my Traeger together.
Okay.
Rob Thompson made fun of me. Then Rob got a Traeger. Come hell or high water, he wasn't calling somebody to come put that thing together for him. But I can promise you, Rob wishes he would have parted with $75 to put that thing together.
Dude, it's money well spent. But I still want to hear somebody that's listening or watching tell Jason how hard it is to get that cellophane stuff off of that heater.
Sure, 210-656-ESPN.
I know you guys
Anybody
know.
got sympathy for Ryan Nagel? And his team lost this weekend. He needs all the sympathy in the world because he put all his eggs in a Ryan Tannehill basket.
Jeez. Tannehill was just pathetic.
First pass of the game.
Yeah.
Intercepted.
Yeah.
First pass of the second half.
Mm-hmm.
Intercepted. Mm-hmm. Yet they still had an opportunity to win the game.
They did.
Then he throws a third interception.
Which was just the worst decision of the three. That one. Because he had a tight end open, by the way, underneath on that play, and he tries to jam it in. And it gets tipped and then picked off, and then that was it. And then Burrow drove him down for the game-winning field goal.
And then when, they get ready to kick that field goal, Cole Joe Burrow.
So he was talking to Brandon as he was going out to kick. He gave a little warm-up swing, and he said, it looks like we're going to the AFC Championship right before he went out there to kick it.
Dude, I appreciate everything that I'm seeing out of Cincinnati. And if they weren't playing Kansas City in the AFC Championship game, I might jump on their bandwagon.
So is that a lesson for other NFL owners and general managers that you need to draft a kicker? Because they drafted that guy.
They did draft that kid. And I mean, maybe not. I mean, kickers are different. They're quirky. You see a kicker yesterday in Kansas City miss an extra point, miss a field goal, but when it's money on the line, he was money. He nailed that kick.
Well, dude, the guy in Cincinnati should got extra points. He never missed. I mean, it was straight down the middle every single time. There was no even, he might miss. It was, it's like,
it was that ball left his foot and he started celebrating.
Yeah.
He did not wait to see that ball go through. He knew he made it, and it kicked the Bengals to the AFC Championship game immediately. Coming up, I'm sure we'll talk a lot with Daryl Johnston about the Kansas City game. That game last night, game of the year.
Absolutely, no question.
It was just incredible. Rams, Bucks, or 49ers, Packers? Which one do you want to get into?
Oh, well, let's get into the Packer game because Aaron Rodgers has a decision to make, which he says he will make before the free agency period begins in April.
Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to be a part of a rebuild.
Right.
If Aaron Rodgers stays in Green Bay, there is no rebuild. Quite frankly.
No, you're right.
I mean, does he need more help around him? What is Adams going to do? I promise you, Adams is going to go the route that Aaron Rodgers takes. If Aaron leaves, Adams is gone. If Aaron stays, I got to believe that Adams would elect to stay. And if Aaron does stay, it's going to be on a new deal.
Mm-hmm.
But I look at Aaron Rodgers and I look at the money that he's making. And last year they reworked his deal. So he's in a position to make a decision. It's interesting, his tone towards the coaching staff, the city of Green Bay, all of it, very different throughout the season and in the post-game press conference than what you heard last year, right? Like, this was supposed to be the year for the Green Bay Packers.
It was.
You're an MVP, you're number one seed. I think he was worse on Saturday night than in the very first game of the year when they got their ass kicked by New Orleans. It was awful. Aaron Rodgers had open receivers all game long, yet kept throwing to Adams, who was double covered. Mm-hmm. You look at that final play or that final drive. I mean, you look out here, Lazard, he looked open.
I think he's a bum.
Aaron wouldn't throw him the ball. You look at Valdez-Scantling. There were times he was open. Aaron wouldn't throw him the ball.
I think he's a bum.
But everything was going to Adams, double covered with the game on the line. Now, if you're Aaron Rodgers, you've got to score more than 10 points when you're playing at home in a playoff game. San Francisco's defense was good, but like they did Dallas, they tried to take Adams away. He was double covered. Other guys were open. He wouldn't throw him the ball.
Interesting.
I think he's a bum.
Well, it's interesting how that works. And you're right. And maybe Rodgers just didn't have the trust in those guys. I don't know what was going through his head there. But it was a perfect Green Bay setup.
Yeah.
With the way the weather was, the snow flying around, cold. I mean, you just think Green Bay, they just can't lose when the weather conditions are like that. And you've got a warm weather team, relatively, right? I guess it gets cold in San Francisco sometimes.
None degree cold with snow.
Not like that, no.
I mean,
but so everything was set up perfectly for the Green Bay Packers, and they laid an egg. They just simply laid an egg, and it was crazy.
Aaron Rodgers was 20 of 29 for 225 yards. No touchdowns, no picks. They ran the ball fairly well. I mean, they had 67 yards rushing. I mean, but against San Francisco and their defense, that they did everything but score. And Garoppolo was awful. I mean, he made some big throws in key moments, but for the most part, Garoppolo didn't have a good game. Oh, they didn't run the ball as well as they did, say, against Dallas, but in those conditions. But special teams. And why haven't we heard about the special teams coach in Green Bay getting fired today?
I don't know. What, block field goal, block punt? I mean, that's what turned the game around. I mean, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if those two plays don't happen, I think Green Bay probably wins that football game and is moving on.
Aaron Rodgers to score, to have no touchdown passes, and for an Aaron Rodgers-led offense to score 10 points in a playoff game, that's ridiculous. You're at home, and it's San Francisco. You were going to make them pay for not drafting you way back then.
Isn't there always a team every year, though? The Giants come to mind. The Tampa Bay Bucks come to mind from last year. That comes out of nowhere, gets hot at the right time, and makes a run in the playoffs. And I tell you what, if you're the Rams, you certainly can't laugh that you're playing the San Francisco 49ers because, number one, they beat you last game of the regular season.
They beat you twice this year. They swept.
Right. And number two, I mean, you are up against a very hot ball club. And I'm going to disagree with something you said. I thought Jimmy Garoppolo played a pretty good game Saturday night. I don't know what his stats were, and if that's what you're going by, but I thought for the most part, Garoppolo played pretty well.
I seem to recall you sitting next to me at the Rue Pub.
Yeah.
What the hell was that?
I did say that.
How'd you lose to that guy? I seem to recall hearing some of that and talking about Jimmy Garoppolo in the moment. He was 11 of 19 for 131 yards. He didn't complete a pass until the second quarter.
That's true. I mean, he did. Yeah, it took him a while.
Yeah.
But when the game was on the line,
no, he made some money.
He made some great throws.
He made some throws. He made a couple of big plays.
I mean, he didn't completely overthrow a guy that was wide open right into the hands of a Dallas Cowboy like he did the previous Sunday.
He did have that one interception where you were like,
but it's like, he was adequate. But look, having said that,
he won. He's in the NFC Championship game.
With that defense, Jason, Ryan Tannehill, are you listening? That's all you have to be is adequate. You don't have to win the game. Keep your team in it.
You look at what the Rams have done. The Rams in the NFC Championship game. Matt Stafford will never get as much credit as he should for his game against Tampa Bay because the storyline is Tom. And understandably, Matt Stafford go beat San Francisco and take the Rams to the Super Bowl. You're playing a home game. Although when they played in the regular season finale, it was like Levi Stadium South. So the Rams have decided to put ticket restrictions on their tickets that are available for the NFC Championship game. The Rams will only sell tickets to somebody whose credit card address is a Los Angeles area zip code. So in other words, if you live in San Francisco, you can't buy tickets.
Yeah,
now,
but how does that work if you're a season ticket holder and you've got tickets to the NFC Champion? You can still sell them to somebody.
You'll be able to sell them to your broker and put them online. But, the tickets that will go for sale, and I'm sure there's, thousands of 49er fans that actually live in Los Angeles. But how pathetic do you look as an NFL franchise to put buying restrictions on to keep the other fans out?
That's pretty bad.
It's pathetic.
It was embarrassing, though. In that last game of the regular season.
It was. They had to go to a silent count at home because the 49er fans took over.
That's ridiculous.
And I was at Jerry World and saw that sea of red, too.
Yeah.
I mean, play better, create your own fans, and it's up to your fans whether or not they want to sell tickets. But I think that's comical. We'll talk more about the playoffs coming up with Daryl Johnston. He will join us as he does every Monday. But first, let me tell you about Ancira Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram truck, part of the Ancira I-10 Auto Complex. You know it is very easy for me to tell you about and recommend Ancira because I am a longtime Ancira customer, and it's because of their great customer service before, during, and most importantly, after the sale. That is why Ancira has been a top family-run dealership in San Antonio for decades. They're going to make sure you're getting the vehicle you want with the options and features that you're looking for. They'll give you great value on your trade-in, the best rebates and financing options that are available, and you know price made Ancira number one. Price keeps Ancira number one. So think Ancira. Ancira Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram truck, part of the Ancira I-10 Auto Complex on I-10 West between Wurzbach and Huebner.
All right, Mondays with the Moose, right after a Sports Center update with James Pledger.
Thanks, Joe. Well, the Dallas Cowboys, their defensive coordinator, Dan Quinn, is a finalist for both the Broncos and Bears head coaching vacancy. This according to multiple reports in the NBA. The San Antonio Spurs went 0-2 over the weekend, falling to both the Nets and the 76ers last night as Joel Embiid led the Sixers with 38 points in 31 minutes. They'll return to action tomorrow when they take on the Houston Rockets. In college basketball from over the weekend, the Texas Longhorns snapped a 2-game losing streak, beating Oklahoma State 56-51 as they return to action tomorrow night. After beating West Virginia 78-65, 13th-ranked Texas Tech heads to Lawrence to face 4th-ranked Kansas tonight. Tip-off is set for 8 o'clock, and it's a game that will be televised on ESPN. I'm James Pledger for San Antonio Sports Star.
Not all pizza places are the same. Mellow Mushroom originated hand-tossed, stone-baked classic Southern pizza. Not in the mood for pizza? Order a calzone, hoagie, sandwich, burger, or a mellow salad and see how care goes into every item on the menu. Take your pick from 24 draft beers and or handcrafted cocktails. And many of the pizzas can be made gluten-free or vegan. Mellow Mushroom is at 1604 in Stone Oak Parkway. Hang with friends, watch the game, and mellow out at Mellow Mushroom.
Exergen would like you to know about an important new study by the FDA. It confirms what the medical community has always known. Non-contact thermometers are not accurate, and they fail to meet FDA requirements for accuracy in labeling. With new strains of COVID on the rise, we can't afford to tolerate rampant false temperature readings from non-contact thermometers. Accurate temperature measurements are essential. You need Exergen thermometers because they are accurate and backed by over 100 clinical studies. Be sure, be accurate with Exergen. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Hello, my name is Jason Thompson, owner of the Thompson Law Firm right here in San Antonio. And for the past 27 years, I have represented people in our community who have been injured because of negligent drivers of cars, 18-wheelers, and company vehicles. I really want you to know that if you're involved in a collision, you need to contact an experienced attorney as soon as possible after the collision. All you may know about an insurance company is what you see on television. If you have ever been forced to make a claim after being injured in an auto collision, there are no jokes, no geckos, no cavemen, no professional athlete endorsers. Just you against a giant insurance company that is represented by skilled adjusters and attorneys who have one job: pay as little as possible. If you've been injured in a collision, please contact an experienced attorney as soon as possible after the collision. I, of course, want you to call me, Jason Thompson. My number is 210-900-0400. That's 900-0400. Or go to my website, alawyerforus.com. That's all one word, alawyerforus.com.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents
and Doug. And we're back with Limu, Emu, and Doug for the final question. Category is things you climb. All right, Limu, what do you think? You sure? We're going with Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need. Oh, so close. We were looking for stairs. Huh. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Individual rates, coverage offerings, and savings may vary, subject to terms and conditions, not available in all areas. If you're a small business owner, listen up. Pi Insurance wants to give you one of those aha moments, the kind that could save you money. Workers' comp is probably one of the biggest costs you face. But did you know that insurance providers have flexibility in setting their prices? That's right, but many don't bother giving small businesses the savings you deserve. Instead, you can get lumped in with other businesses and overcharged. Pi Insurance was created to change that. With Pi, you get a quote tailored specifically to your business, and you could save up to 30% with no hassle and no hidden fees. And with helpful representatives just a call away, it's easy to understand why Pi is rated excellent by customers on Trustpilot. Take 3 minutes to see how much you could save with Pi Insurance. Ask your agent for Pi or go to trypi.com. That's TRYPIE.com.
If you're thinking about a compact tractor and you want the best, you can afford a Kubota. Hi, I'm John Ewald with Ewald Kubota. Come into one of our 11 locations and check out the new Kubota L2501 package deal, which includes a 4-wheel drive tractor with a hydrostatic transmission, a front loader, a rear mower, a box blade, and a trailer, all for one low price. With a deal this good, you can afford a Kubota from Ewald Kubota. Check out our package specials at ewaldkubota.com.
This is Jerry Jones, and you're listening to the home of the Dallas Cowboys.
San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. He is Joe Reinagel. I'm Jason Minix. Daryl Johnston will be with us in a second. As soon as he is, we will go to him. Man, I did some great ribs yesterday.
Yeah.
It was, now that we're in the studio, I can only barbecue on the weekends. I did a great rack of ribs yesterday, getting ready for that Kansas City game. You did some barbecuing this weekend. Make sure you upload it at sasportstar.com. We do Grilling with the Blitz every Thursday, where if you upload that photo, add a little recipe, you could win yourself a $50 gift card to Tri-County Meat Market.
We still need some chili, though.
We didn't get any. Well, I would say last week it was cold Thursday.
Right.
I didn't see any chili photos.
Well, maybe we get some chili this week.
We could. It's still cold.
I'd like to see that. Yeah, absolutely. And it's still winter. Chili in Texas is good anytime.
True.
You didn't have to be cold outside. We eat chili when it's 100 degrees.
But it's better when it's cold.
It's better when it's cold.
It is one of those. It's better when it is cold. And yesterday, the ribs and the cold beer, it was just a great day of football, a great weekend of football. And, you know, I think knee-jerk reaction, Joe, is everybody saying this is the best weekend ever of playoff football. I can't remember a weekend where all 4 games came down to the final play.
Yeah.
And that is what we got.
It's exactly what we got. And that was incredible. I mean, all the games they had their own their own character, I guess, right? Every one of them. And then last night was just off the charts entertaining. And I don't know how many times my mouth was open. You know what I mean? Just watching that. And it was just incredible.
All right, Daryl Johnston, he's on the move. He's getting into an elevator as we speak.
Wow.
Well, we'll see how good the cell phone works with the elevator. Moose, how's your Monday?
Does it work?
Hey, there you are, man. Hey, but before we talk about the games this weekend, me and every other Cowboy fan was very jealous of the reunion you had with a bunch of your Super Bowl teammates this weekend. The photo looked incredible. What's it like when all of you guys get together in a social setting like that?
It's like time has stood still for 25 years, 30 years. We kind of just pick up right where we left off. So it's really unusual. It's kind of hard to explain to people, you know, how unique that situation is. So, great to have Mark back in town. A guy like that is going to get everybody to come out. Even Michael was, the one that was, we see him everywhere on Sunday.
Yep.
And the fact that he was able to take some time out of his busy schedule and come join us was awesome as well. So it was great. It was great.
Daryl, what do you guys talk about? Do y'all complain about the current Dallas Cowboys? Do you talk football or do you not talk about sports at all?
You catch up on family, probably first and foremost. See how everybody's doing. What they're, we got everybody's in college now for a lot of us. So, how's everything going with school? When are they coming back? What's the future look like? Just any plans there. But it's really, mainly reminiscing, for us. If we do get into football, I always talk a little bit with Troy about the current state, and then guys will kind of weigh in on that a little bit, but I think we're all respectful of how hard it is to win. That, we probably see things a little bit differently, understand things a little bit more than most fans because they are so passionate about the Cowboys. So we probably give them a little bit more understanding. But this was a tough one. That was a tough loss against San Francisco. So when we were kind of unhashing that one, there was a little bit of disappointment there because I think even in our situation, we thought it was going to be a little bit longer of a season for the guys.
Well, and you look at that, Daryl, and you know what the expectations are for Cowboy fans. How do if you're talking to a Green Bay Packer fan and you look at another year of in the playoffs that doesn't end with a Super Bowl, and then you look as great as Aaron Rodgers is, he's won one Super Bowl in that time, and that was back in 2010.
I know, that's crazy. I mean, as high as he sits individually at the position of the quarterback in the history of the league, to only have won that one Super Bowl. And I think a lot of people right away would go to Dan Marino and say Dan Marino never had an opportunity to win a Super Bowl. So it's John Elway struggled forever until, they had that magical run at the end of his career. And a lot of that was done, with the addition of some of the, Terrell Davis, the running backs, were kind of the thing that got John over the hump a little bit. So, I think sometimes, Jim Kelly, 0 for 4, they're out there, but Aaron Rodgers has played the game at such a high level, and he's been so good at his position that I think, the casual fan that kind of hears about Aaron Rodgers, and then all of a sudden you tell them that, yeah, but he's only won one Super Bowl. I think a lot of people go, are you sure about that? He seems awful good. He should have won more than that by now. And I think that's sometimes when we see Aaron get frustrated, I think that is part of the frustration that he knows about the window of opportunity in the NFL. And I think every time he misses one of these great spots, he understands that that's another window that's closing on him. And he hadn't taken advantage of it and won a Super Bowl. So, it's got to be hard for him to wrestle with internally.
All right, Daryl, let's talk about a guy that has won a lot of Super Bowls, and that's Tom Brady. Obviously, he's out of the playoffs, and his future is up in the air. But watching him play yesterday, I mean, it seems to me like if he's going to retire, it's not because he can't play anymore. I mean, the man is incredible.
He really is. And I think that's the one reason why I don't know if that was it for Tom. It just seems like at this stage of his career, like you said, he led the league in several categories this year at 44 and a quarterback. I think for Tom Brady, it would be looking at everything else. What does the entire team look like? I know how I feel. I still feel like I can play at a high level. I demonstrated it last year, but how does the team look? And I know they did a lot this year to get that roster put together. How much of that was a 1-year deal just to take another shot and see if you could go back to back? And how much of that team will be together next year? I think that will be one of the big things that Tom looks at if you're looking at it from just, an evaluation process. But I think the big thing, if you get into it a little deeper, is, how does Tom replace that? Do you really want to walk away when you're still playing at a level that he's playing at? I mean, we've seen a lot of guys that struggle with that at their end of their career where, maybe they should have retired a year early and they continue to press. Shoot, I even feel that way. I know I wasn't playing at the level I wanted to play at the end of my career, but you love the game and you wanted to play it as long as you could. I wanted to be on the field when Emmett broke the record. That was my driving force. And, I was, fortunately, somebody else made that decision for me. Because we do get stubborn and we want to stay as long as we can. So I just think with Tom playing at the level that he's playing at, with Tampa Bay still in a good position to contend next year, I think he takes it one more year at least, because he said 45. 45 was the number that he threw out there years and years ago when he said that he'd like to play the game to a certain age. And I think he's just a goal setter. And I think this is a conversation we have a little bit more next year. But I expect Tom Brady to come back and play for Tampa Bay next year.
He is the Moose. Daryl Johnston joining us here on the Blitz, 3-time Super Bowl champion with the Cowboys, now an analyst with Fox Sports. Let's talk about the game of the year of the weekend, that Kansas City Buffalo game last night. And I want your perspective on the overtime rule, Daryl, not only as an NFL analyst and former player, but you're an exec with the Alliance, and you know what the overtime rules were there, and I've read what the overtime rules are in the XFL. Do you like the way the NFL handles overtime rules in the playoffs?
It's a tough one. I know they've deliberated. Do we play a full quarter? Do we actually in the playoffs give teams each a full possession regardless of what happens on their first possession? I think it's hard. I think you're never going to make everybody happy. And usually when you're trying to make everybody happy, you don't make anybody happy. And that may be where we're at right now. From a football perspective, you'll hear a lot of people say, if you want to win the game, win it in regulation. Don't complain about what happens in overtime. And that was when we went to the rule of, if you kick a field goal on the opening possession, the other team gets another opportunity. Now, are we going to grant another opportunity just because it's playoff football? And now we're distinguishing between regular season and postseason. I think there's just so many things, that you have to unpack there. I don't know. I'm kind of a purist. I like the way it is now that you each get a possession. I think it is, especially with conditions in play outdoors, that one possession for a field goal to win in overtime, I was okay with granting both teams the possession. I just don't think we want to keep pushing it farther and farther down the road, because there's always going to be another scenario where you're going to say, well, what about this also? We should probably tweak it a little bit here too. And you just continue to change. So I think I'd like to see the NFL just kind of, stay where they are right now. And, there'll be other situations that come up and people will find a reason to be unhappy about it. But, I like where it is right now. And I know it's hard. Listen, nobody knows the Bills franchise is as good as I do. I mean, I grew up in Western New York. I know how that fan base lives and dies. The Bills Mafia does not only great things for their community, but for other communities. I mean, they're just a very unique fan base. And I cannot wait till the day they win the Super Bowl, because it's going to be amazing for that community. And I know how devastated they are right now. But, I think if you even talk to the diehard Bills fans up there, they're going to give you a lot of reasons why that game should have never gone to overtime in the first place, and that they should be hosting the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, like, I don't know, squib it with 13 seconds left.
that might be a good place to start.
Yeah, Daryl, you've got a unique perspective on this as a former player, as a champion, but also as a football fan. When you watch Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes last night, are you in awe like the rest of us at what those guys can do?
Yeah, it takes me back to the days, growing up when, they had the great quarterbacks it was Elway and Marino and then, my playing days, a little bit prior, to that was Montana. There were so many great quarterbacks that were playing the game when I was growing up as a kid and becoming a fan of the game of football and the NFL. And then also the beginning of my career when we actually had an opportunity to play against some of them. And then, the rivalries that we had, Steve Young and Troy Aikman and Brett Favre. And, it was just fantastic. And I'm so excited to see that again. It's predominantly in the AFC right now, but the AFC is really poised, to have a decade of fantastic football with the quarterbacks that they have in that league right now. So I was absolutely blown away. There were so many times I thought that game was over. And it was funny because I was traveling back and I'm watching it on the phone and my wife is texting me. And she went back and forth so many times. Oh, the Bills won. The Bills won. Oh, no, they didn't. I'm so sorry. Oh, they did. They won. They won. It was the most hysterical text chain once I was able to read through the whole thing. Just a phenomenal performance. And it's one of those games where you just hate to see one of the teams lose. Congratulations to Andy Reid and his team and boy Sean McDermott. This is going to be fun to watch for several years. I'm really excited to watch that Bills Kansas City rivalry.
It's going to be fun for years to come for sure. Daryl, and again, with the Cowboys glasses back on, with some of the coaching calls made, whether it was the Buffalo game late on the squib or 13 seconds left, how you defended that play, or Todd Bowles going with an all-out blitz and Matt Stafford hitting Kupp over the top because, you let that guy run free for whatever reason. Could you imagine if Mike McCarthy was on the podium after something like that happened to the Cowboys? Does he get unfair criticism with coaching decisions?
I think so. I think people have been hard on him. I think every coach has got, some things in his past that he struggled with clock management. And at some point, they've moved past that. They continue to work. I remember talking to Andy Reid one time, and he spent the bulk of the off season prior to them really getting into practices, working on situational football. And one of the things was end of game and end of half. He watched, I think he told me, over 1,500 different circumstances and scenarios to try and get an idea on how to do it. So I think from a fan's perspective, you have to understand that if you struggled with something during the year in the offseason, you were doing everything you can to work on it. And Mike has done that. And I think you get some unique things from time to time. And hopefully you learn, from watching other things. I mean, how many people learned from watching the Dallas Cowboys onside kick against the Atlanta Falcons last year? I saw that kick tried multiple times, through the rest of the season, and nobody executed it because everybody saw it. When it's something new and you've seen it for the first time, it's tough to react in the situation, in the moment. And then you hope you learn from that, and then you continue to press and find other circumstances that could cost you a game that you're prepared for, so you don't have to go through it. You've learned at somebody else's expense, and I think that Mike has done that. My big thing is, how do you get Cooper Kupp open in that situation? There's been talk about a blown coverage and maybe Todd's decision to go all out pressure at that point, but it's still Cooper Kupp. That's the one guy you can't let beat you. How does Devontae Adams, have 7 catches? How was he the only guy at one point during the game that was only targeted? That's the one thing coming into that game that you couldn't let happen. And why doesn't CeeDee Lamb have plays in a big game? So I think the scheming is the one thing I think that people would rather see, because we see other teams do it. So there may be some people frustrated with the clock management, but my thing is you've got some weapons there, and why are we not getting to them, more often in the critical situations of the game? So that would probably be my big takeaway from what happened to Dallas this year.
Daryl, before we let you go, I'm putting you on the spot. Next Monday when we talk, who are we talking about getting ready for the Super Bowl?
I'm just going to be like a weird historian guy and say we're going back to San Francisco, Cincinnati, the most watched Super Bowl in Super Bowl history. We're going to start that one again. And wouldn't that be weird if that continued for a couple times like it did back in the 80s?
That would be wild. That'd be a couple of big upsets this weekend. Joe Burrow and rookie kicker with a lot of confidence. It'll be interesting to see. We'll talk about it next week.
But is it an upset? Really, right? Because Cincinnati went to Arrowhead and beat Kansas City in December.
Yep.
The Niners have owned the Rams as of late. Is it 5 in a row, 6 in a row? Twice this year. And that's the thing I'm most worried about happening this week is it's really hard to beat a team 3 times in one season. Not if you're better than they are. Not if you match up really well against them. It's not. So I think San Francisco, Cincinnati would just from a historical, perspective and probably a little bit more hope. The one thing that's, we've never had a Super Bowl played in the home stadium of one of the participants up until last year, and now we might have it 2 years in a row. I mean, to me, that's kind of crazy too.
Well, and to think about the Rams could have the NFC Championship game in that stadium and then the Super Bowl, and that's never happened.
That never happened.
There we go.
Crazy.
So we can either reminisce and wax poetically about the Cincinnati San Francisco Super Bowls of the 80s, or we can have history made again.
Daryl, it's going to be a fun week to talk about and then get to the games. But before we let you go, man, whoever your phone provider is or that elevator, congrats, man.
Yes.
Knowing that there was an elevator up and down or whatever, and through that, no drops, that's incredible, man. We'll talk to you next week.
You got it. Take care.
Appreciate it. The Moose, Daryl Johnston. Always good stuff Mondays with the Moose.
It is. And, he just adds such a unique perspective, and you got to love that, too. Speaking of perspectives, are we going to have a baseball season, Jason? That's the question. It's up in the air right now, but we've got some good news when we come back.
We'll find out about that. It's cold outside. Rodeo is coming up. If you're a business owner, a manager, a club leader, and you need your logo on winter gear, especially for that rodeo coming up, you need to get into Sammy's Embroidery Club on San Pedro. Sam has his winter line on display now in the showroom. Jackets, coats, hoodies, half-zips, beanies. He's got all the big-name brands, Port Authority, North Face, Eddie Bauer, Nike, just to name a few. And he's got plenty of inventory in stock. And he has the largest selection of caps, including the popular Richardson style cap in stock. Over 700 uniform lines to choose from. And not just embroidery, silkscreen shirts as well for any occasion. Sammy's Embroidery and Printing. Nobody has better prices. Sam has all the big name brands and is the only company in Texas with one-day turnaround. No order too small, no order too big, and all items do come with a warranty. You can call Sammy's Embroidery at 210-824-3900, or better yet, get into that massive showroom down on San Pedro, 1 mile inside Loop 410, next to Big Lots across from McDonald's, or check the website samsembroidery.com for Sammy's Embroidery Club.
It's drive and determination.
Catching a right-hand dunk.
It's magic and mayhem.
Long three is good.
We've got NBA action live on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
You know, Kielbasa Smoked Meats is a great local San Antonio company, started here in 1949. Their products are all fantastic, including the new maple breakfast links that are available at select H-E-B stores. If you haven't tried them yet, you are missing out. These breakfast links are a little sweet, a little savory, totally delicious. Perfect as part of a nice weekend breakfast spread, or if you've got a busy weekday morning before school, before work, they come fully cooked. All you got to do is heat them up, and you've got a great breakfast before you head to work. I had those for breakfast this morning. They are fantastic. Get those Kielbasa Maple breakfast links at select H-E-B stores. The Roo Pub is the best place to watch a game. Football, basketball, the big fights, they have them on at the Roo on their 3 massive 170-inch laser screens and TVs all around. Come hungry, the food is fantastic, and the kitchen is open until 2 a.m. every day with the full menu available. The Roo Pub has the best darts area in town, indoor cornhole and weekday happy hour from 11 to 6. For lunch, dinner, or late at night, and the best place to watch a game, get into the Roo Pub at 281 in Redmond Road. We'll see you at the Roo.
You could save big when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive, but when we just come out and say it, it feels like it falls a bit flat. So we're going to use humor. But we don't want to insult your intelligence, so nothing too goofy. And we need to avoid any polarizing topics. Oh, and it has to be about how you can save big when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive. You know what? Maybe humor is a bad idea. Yeah, it's never going to work. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discount not available in all states or situations.
70% of the Fortune 100 choose Zoom. With phone, chat, workspaces, apps, events, and video in a single platform, Zoom powers all your communications. Large enterprises, small businesses, and individuals use the secure Zoom platform to enable new ways of working, learning, hosting events, and supporting their customers. And now you can save 15% on meetings, chat, and phone with a Zoom United bundle. Visit zoom.com/bundle. Zoom, how the world connects.
What's all the buzz about nasal irrigation and Navage? And should I try it? Here's the science. Airborne germs invade through your nose. It's the body's air filter for trapping allergens and viruses. When your nose gets clogged, it's less effective and germs multiply. Eventually, your immune system can get overwhelmed and you get sick. Nasal irrigation is an effective, all-natural way to clean your nose. It's not a drug. It's more like plumbing. Saline goes in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and out the other nostril, flushing out mucus and germs. I'm Martin Hoke, and I invented Navage to make cleaning your nose easy. It's the world's only nose cleaner with powered suction. Navage pulls out the bad stuff so you can breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and feel healthier. At Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, Bed Bath, and Walmart. Or go to Navage.com for a free gift with purchase. Over 2 million sold. Navage, Navage. Clean nose, healthy life.
Injuries happen, so if you twist, pull, pop, or snap something, you need Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Dr. Espinosa treats all non-surgical orthopedic injuries and has same-day and next-day availability. Telemedicine services are also available. There is no reason to be in pain. If you are hurting, visit Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Learn more at TSAOG.com. That's TSAOG.com, or schedule your appointment by calling 210-804-5490.
We're ready for y'all.
Let's go!
The NFL playoff picture is coming together.
I like it.
Hear it unfold on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Opinions. We got them. Keep them coming. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
We are back on the Blitz. What a day it's been after one of the best football weekends ever. But we've got some news, Jason Minix, because that's who he is. I'm Joe Reinagel. Baseball news. They're supposed to report, right? Pitchers and catchers, first part of February. Not sure that they're going to, though, because there is a squabble between the players and Major League Baseball.
Yeah, the good news is Jeff Passan is reporting that, you know, they did meet today. They didn't get a deal done. No surprise, they didn't expect one. But they are getting progress, whatever that means. And as Passan tweets out, the fact that it didn't go backwards when it could have is a W.
Well, I guess so, right? I mean, they need to get a deal done because, look, as excited as we are about the NFL and the NFL season, because let's face it, the NFL is king.
Yep.
Above all else. And I mean, it's not even close. Baseball over the years, except with guys like you and me who are purists and love the game, I mean, is waning in popularity. And so a lockout and where they're not playing at all is going to be devastating.
Any pro sport, lockouts are, but baseball, and you're right. And as much of a fan as I am and a purist, I could go days, weeks without watching a full game, right? It's, you know, I'll always check scores and check standings and that sort of stuff. But it's, you know, if a pitching matchup is there that I want to see, to sit and watch a couple, 3-4 hours of baseball, even somebody like me they've kind of lost me through the years until you get to the postseason. Right. You know, and as an Astro fan, games have been good, you know, but you know, if I'm a fan of the Rangers, you know,
that's tough.
I'll you know, if they're on in the car, I'll listen, but I'm not adjusting the schedule because of a game time.
The Rangers have really never recovered since the Cardinals beat them in the World Series.
No.
Back then.
No.
They really haven't.
They've been in a tailspin ever since.
And I can understand that.
Yeah, I mean,
the Astros
and the Cardinals haven't been the same either. You know, it's just kind of what it does. You know, one great thing about like tomorrow, you know, we've already got some major topics for tomorrow because tomorrow we will know who's in the Baseball Hall of Fame. Will these crusty old jerk baseball writers vote Roger Clemens in? Will they overlook some of the negative? Chances are they don't, and that's going to be the storyline tomorrow.
Well, Barry Bonds is up too, if I'm not mistaken,
that guy
right?
too.
Yeah. So will they let him in after what all happened? That's going to be interesting to see, and certainly we'll talk a lot about that. But Roger Clemens, I mean, you know, on the face of it, I get, you know, where everybody's a little upset, but these guys should be in.
He's a Hall of Famer.
Of course he is.
Barry Bonds is a Hall of Famer.
Absolutely.
They still, whether they had juice or not, you know, you still got to swing the bat and hit the ball. You still have to, you know, I mean, Roger Clemens lied. That's the problem.
Right.
If he would have done what Andy Pettitte did, all is forgiven.
Yeah.
But he lied. And he went to the top of the mountaintop trying to lie. And he got busted for it.
So my prediction is they're not going to let him in. I don't think they will. So we'll find out tomorrow. But I don't.
Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely. That's a no-brainer. My gosh. Especially now. I shouldn't say that because he was a manager, right? And when he did what he did.
True. But as a player,
he
should be in the Hall of Fame.
There's no question.
And it should be on the plaque, part of his story.
Was there a better baseball player than Pete Rose?
No. And again, I'm a big fan of honor people while they're alive.
Sure.
I mean, the day after he dies, if whoever the commissioner is at the time says, all right, well, all is forgiven, let him in, too late.
Yeah.
Let the man enjoy being a Hall of Famer.
I agree.
Then when he's sitting in Vegas charging people $100 for an autographed baseball, he can make it $150 because he writes HOF on it. But let the man have his glory while he has a pulse. It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. A couple of minutes of baseball. We're right back to football.
Absolutely.
Because yesterday was incredible. we'll get into some football as we continue here. Take your calls as well. If you have struggled with dental problems all your life, you need to know about Dr. Mark Havercorn over at River City Oral Surgery. If you've had cavities followed by fillings, more fillings, root canals, crowns, only to have the pain come back, stop spending lots of money at the dentist every few years only for that work to fail. Go over to River City Oral Surgery and talk to Dr. Mark Havercorn about dental implants. That could be your solution. And you know when you go over there exactly what you're going to pay because they offer direct patient care, which means it's cash business. If you have insurance, you can still file a claim, but he doesn't want your insurance. Financing is available. You can put it on your credit card. You can write him a check, but you know exactly what it's going to cost you. And all his prices include everything from the exam, x-ray, post-op care. Go to the website, rivercityoms.com. All the prices are right there. $1,300 for a dental implant, and that includes everything. $20,900 to replace all the teeth in one jaw. And again, that's everything. Need your wisdom teeth out? That's $1,000. Need a tooth pulled? $325. You don't need a referral. You just call and make an appointment. Call 210-778-0002, 778-0002 for River City Oral Surgery. The website, rivercityoms.com.
I can't wait to watch you guys play.
We're ready for y'all.
Let's go.
The NFL playoff picture is coming together.
Let's go. Let's go.
Are you ready?
You got to go out there every play and earn it.
Hear it unfold on San Antonio Sports Star.
I like it.
We're serving up all the biggest games you can handle.
Dominate on 3. 1, 2, 3, dominate.
Get all the action live on San Antonio Sports Star.
180. What's up?
ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Calling all coffee lovers. Hold on to your mugs because Panera's Unlimited Sip Club is offering the unreal deal of unlimited coffee for only $8.99 a month. Don't worry, you're not dreaming because when we say unlimited, we mean unlimited. Unlimited boosts all day long. Unlimited smells of your favorite aroma. Unlimited sips of premium hot and iced coffees. Sign up on our app today to get your first month free. Panera, the familiar made fantastic. Plus tax, first free month, limited time offer. Restrictions apply. For complete details, visit www.panerabread.com/unlimited sip club.
Hello, my name is Jason Thompson, owner of the Thompson Law Firm right here in San Antonio. And for the past 27 years, I have represented people in our community who have been injured because of negligent drivers of cars, 18-wheelers, and company vehicles. I really want you to know that if you're involved in a collision, you need to contact an experienced attorney as soon as possible after the collision. All you may know about an insurance company is what you see on television. If you have ever been forced to make a claim after being injured in an auto collision, there are no jokes, no geckos, no cavemen, no professional athlete endorsers, just you against a giant insurance company that is represented by skilled adjusters and attorneys who have one job: pay as little as possible. If you've been injured in a collision, please contact an experienced attorney as soon as possible after the collision. I, of course, want you to call me, Jason Thompson. My number is 210-900-0400. That's 900-0400. Or go to my website, alawyerforus.com. That's all one word, alawyerforus.com.
Live, local, loud. KZDC, San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. Joe Reinagle, Jason Minix, The Blitz.
Hell of a weekend of NFL football. It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. He is Joe Reinagle. I'm Jason Minix.
I got to tell you something, Jason. You know, after I left you at the Root Pub Saturday night, I had to go pick up Maggie. We're down to one car for, it's a long story. I won't bore everybody with why that is. But so I had dropped her off at her. She has a wine club, right, that she meets with a bunch of friends of hers, and they go over these different wines, and they basically get together and drink wine. Yeah. Okay, and talk, and it's fun. And they do that once a month. So I dropped her off, met you at the Root Pub, and as I'm going back to get her, that's when the game was getting interesting. As I left a little bit earlier, but I'm listening to it on the radio, and San Francisco had just tied it up at 10. So, you know, I text Maggie. I said, hey, you know, make sure the game's on. Or I'm going to sit in the car and watch the end of it. And she said, come on in, the game's on. So I go in, and as soon as I get in, I start sitting there and I'm watching the game. These women come over, and I'm not here, you know, they're all, what's going on? What's the score? What's the score? And tell them it's 10-10. It's really tight. And then after that, it was, you know, I hate Aaron Rodgers. I hate Aaron Rodgers. The guy's a jerk. His hair's greasy all the time. He's a jerk. I hear that. Then I hear one woman go, well, I think he's hot. I think he's really hot. So they're getting into it, and just as Aaron Rodgers either bashing or loving of Aaron Rodgers. But I thought it was interesting because you get a different perspective of people that aren't huge sports fans, but they get more into the personality.
Well, you also realized why you didn't go to wine night to begin with. Why guys aren't allowed at the wine club nights.
Right.
And it's funny because you were sitting there and going, I got to leave to pick up bag. I'm like, just have her call Uber and come over here. No, I got to go pick her. I told her I'd pick her up. Yeah, because, you're still a newlywed. You're in the whip stage.
Yeah, well, I love my wife.
I
know
understand.
What I'm saying?
I get it.
All right.
I'm with you.
I want to be with her.
I'm just saying.
I hear you.
But you're watching the end of the game.
I know.
And knowing Joe Reinagel, he's wanting to watch the game. And he's got these ladies who've been drinking wine all night chirping about the sexy level of Aaron Rodgers.
Either that or how disgusted they are with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, there was no middle ground. No, he's okay. No. It's either Aaron Rodgers is a jerk and a moron or he's hot. So it was one or the other. There was no middle ground there at all.
Just be glad they didn't show Jimmy G while you were sitting over there.
I know, right?
It would have been over for you.
Ooh, exactly.
Like, why did I come pick you up?
So it was fun. I just thought that was interesting, and you get a perspective. And, a lot of these ladies they know what I do now. And so the first thing I told them after all that conversation was that, man, I got some great content for the radio show Monday.
That's it.
This is great. So it was interesting just to see that there was a lot of disgust for Aaron Rodgers. And then, one cheerleader for Aaron Rodgers.
Again, and you look at her and you realize she's got a type. She likes those with a man bun.
Let's get into that.
I mean, the crazy thing is, Aaron Rodgers has the Green Bay Packers organization by the nuts, right?
Sure.
Unlike Tom Brady, where a lot of people expect him to come back because he played at a high level, even though he didn't want to answer questions after the game and did his podcast today and doesn't want to talk about his future. He's going to take the time. And what I appreciate is he understands as reporters, you have to ask these questions. And he doesn't get mad about it, right? Some fans might get mad at media types for asking the questions, but our job is to try to find out the questions or the answers that you want to know. You do an interview with somebody and you don't ask the question. Well, why didn't you ask that question? Then you do the interview and you ask the question. Everybody, well, why are you asking that? Of course, he's not going to answer you. And I give the Tampa Bay media credit. They tried.
I haven't put a lot of thought into it, so we'll just take it day by day and see where we're at.
Did you at least take a moment as you came off the field or at any time today to think about that, to think that this might be the last time I'm out here?
No, I was thinking about winning. That's kind of my mentality always, to go out there and try to win, give my team the best chance to win.
What's the biggest factor for you, Tom? What will be the biggest factor for you in making that decision going forward?
Truthfully, guys, I'm thinking about this game and not thinking about anything past 5 minutes from now.
And that's what you'd expect him to say. Aaron, he said, I don't want to be a part of a rebuild.
Right.
Aaron, if you're there is no rebuild. If you leave, there is a rebuild. I know they've got salary cap issues and they've got some guys without a contract. But if Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback, especially if he signs another nice new deal that pays him a ton of money, a guy like Adams will stay.
Well, you gotta wonder because, I mean, look, the Packers did go out and draft a quarterback.
Yeah, they did.
Right, and that irritated Rodgers.
Absolutely.
So, maybe Rodgers calls their bluff. Hey, y'all think this is the guy? Adios. I'm out of here. I'm going to go play somewhere else, and we'll see what Jordan can do.
If he decides to play. And that's because he's got the options. Now, I look at the level of Aaron Rodgers, and I don't know, do we redefine him as the greatest regular season quarterback? Because his playoff failures are certainly well documented. The fact that they're the number one seed and out, and he did not throw a touchdown pass in that game. Just from what we see from Aaron Rodgers, this may take a lot more than a couple of weeks for him to mentally get over it.
Maybe.
This season, because he was unvaccinated and had to do the daily testing and the crap that went along with that, and you heard him bitch about it weekly with Pat McAfee, this season was the worst of his career in the sense of, do I enjoy going to work every day? Because every day it started with, take a test and go sit in your car until you get a call that says you can come to breakfast. And you know it pissed him off.
Of course it did.
And then, of course, everything that happened in the offseason. And then to lose the way they did, that's going to be so hard for somebody like Aaron Rodgers to get over.
Which is why I think he comes back and plays. Not for Green Bay. But it's got to be the right situation. Can you imagine, and don't laugh at me, can you imagine just for a minute, Aaron Rodgers with the Tennessee Titans?
I could see it.
Right? With that defense, with that running game, that's a tough team to beat.
That's
an Aaron Rodgers with the New Orleans Saints.
So
the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Wishful thinking for somebody with Titans heartburn right now. Because, I mean, what franchise? There's probably 5-6 franchises right now that probably wouldn't make adjustments to get Aaron Rodgers as their quarterback, right?
Right.
There's a couple 3 that are going to be playing this weekend that probably would do whatever. I don't even know, without knowing what Stafford's contract is, if Sean McVay could get an Aaron Rodgers for a couple of years, although they went all in and Matt Stafford's got him in the NFC Championship game. You look down in New Orleans, but they don't have any cap room. Houston, there's no way he goes to Houston. So you look at what teams are good that he would be an upgraded quarterback whose franchise has a quarterback under contract that is workable at this time. So I'm deliberately trying to exclude the Dallas Cowboys in a reunion with Mike McCarthy because, we know that Aaron Rodgers has never won a Super Bowl without Mike McCarthy. But there's no way that the Cowboys would do anything like that. So where would Aaron
wait a
Rodgers?
minute. Why not?
Because Dak's contract, you wouldn't be able to do it. But the team he just lost
That's a shame, isn't
it?
The
team he just lost to, his dream team when he was growing up, could San Francisco make a move to be able to try to go get an Aaron Rodgers?
Sure.
I mean,
why
they've
not?
done everything they could to get rid of Jimmy G, but he's like that wart that just won't go away. I mean, they've drafted the quarterback, and you know what? You could bring in an Aaron Rodgers and still have Trey Lance on that rookie deal for a while. I know they gave up a lot of picks to go get Trey Lance, but you can maneuver everything around. They've got a smart GM, and then you stay in the Midwest. I don't see Green Bay allowing him to go in the NFC. The Indianapolis Colts, as good as that team is, would an Aaron Rodgers over a Carson Wentz every day of the week. Every day of the week.
Oh, of course. That's a no-brainer. And they've got one hell of a running back there that would protect Aaron Rodgers. I just think that I don't know what Green Bay has coming back other than perhaps Devontae Adams if Rodgers resigns there. If they don't have Devontae Adams, they've got nobody. Randall Cobb is done.
Randall Cobb is at the end. They've got some other receivers, but mind you, this was the number 1 seed in the NFC. It's not like it was an awful football team that got hot at the right time and got into the postseason like San Francisco. This was a team that got blown out in the first game of the year. I mean, just destroyed. But they righted the ship, and they earned the number 1 seed for a reason, and it wasn't just because Aaron Rodgers is a witch. I mean, they've got some talent there. Do they have holes? Absolutely. Every team does. But in reality, that offense has to score more than 10 points. That falls back on Aaron Rodgers.
Sure, it does. And you're absolutely right. And in the playoffs, he is certainly underachieved. There's no question about that. He is a great regular season quarterback, and he hasn't been a good playoff quarterback. There's no question about that. But I don't think he's ready to leave. I mean, what is Aaron Rodgers going to do? He's certainly not going to be a TV guy. Maybe he goes into politics. Maybe. I mean, he's been very political, that's for sure. But, I don't know what else he does. And I think ego-wise, I think he'd love to be a Tom Brady, go somewhere else and win a Super Bowl.
Well, and again, like Tom Brady selected the team.
Yes.
And they helped put it all together for him. If you're Green Bay, and I don't know what the contract holds, right? But he did work his deal to where, last offseason, hey, come to work. Here's your new deal. This is what he can do. You go back to Green Bay when Brett Favre wanted to leave. They wouldn't let him go. He ended up with the Jets. And then ultimately with Minnesota.
Right.
So, Minnesota would be a good fit
Another
depending on who they hire as coach. Chicago, I don't know if they're still in the quarterback game or not. You look at all the places we've kind of linked Deshaun Watson, who's good, Pittsburgh, that's a quarterback away. What about Carolina? But will they let him go somewhere in the NFC? Or are they going to do what they can to get him to an AFC team?
Well, I think that would be their preference, to have him go to an AFC team. They certainly wouldn't want him with Minnesota or Chicago.
No.
That would not be good.
But if you're Aaron Rodgers, what's your best path to the Super Bowl? And it's avoid the AFC, because you've got Mahomes, you've got Allen, you've got Burrow, you've got so many talented quarterbacks right now in the AFC, Justin Herbert, if they can get their stuff together, that the path to the Super Bowl is find your NFC team that's close. And where is that? What team is right on the cusp in the NFC that you could get to? It's going to be an interesting offseason to see what Aaron Rodgers is thinking.
I think he plays, but I don't think it's in Green Bay. I think
he's done in Green Bay.
I do too. I think that relationship is just out the door. But you're right. Who does he go to? And you make some valid points about the AFC and how difficult it is. It is much better than the NFC right now. There's no question about it. I mean, from top to bottom, there are better teams in the AFC than there are in the NFC. So it's going to be interesting to see. And I don't know who those teams are. I say a New Orleans franchise, but again, they have no money.
They got issues.
The Washington football team is another team that I think
it's a disaster.
No, I don't think so. With Ron Rivera, I think that defense, obviously they underachieved this year, but I think that's a team that's got some potential that and some good pieces already in place.
With an Aaron Rodgers addition?
Absolutely.
Any team Aaron Rodgers goes to is going to be better. As a Cowboy fan, I don't want anything to do with seeing Aaron Rodgers twice a year.
No, you don't.
I do not want to see that. But it is going to be very interesting to see, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, what happens there. But I love seeing all these young quarterbacks coming up. The idea of all these talented young quarterbacks that are right now in the AFC. I mean, what we saw this weekend, Joe Burrow and the toughness that he showed.
Unbelievable.
He just got sacked again.
Yeah.
And Moose brought it up when we talked to Daryl Johnston a little bit ago. I mean, he went into Kansas City, and what was it? I'd have to look it up. 34-31, 34-30. I mean, wasn't Cincinnati down in that game and then rallied back?
Yeah.
So that's when Kansas City was starting to play better football, not an early season when Kansas City was still trying to figure it out. Kansas City is now looking like the Chiefs. But I'll tell you what, Patrick Mahomes, we used to say this about Aaron Rodgers. Don't leave him too much time. Apparently 13 seconds.
13 seconds is all it takes.
Josh Allen, how do you get over that?
I don't know.
Again.
I don't know. I mean, that to me is just, that's the 1 in 10 times that's going to happen. I don't think anybody else does that again.
100.
Well, yeah.
I mean, squib kick it. First,
but
to get into field goal range as easily as Patrick Mahomes did,
2 plays,
and
bam, bam,
and look, because everything circles back to the Cowboys. That was a prepared football team that was confident in the moment. Every player on Kansas City lined up, knowing exactly what they were going to do and how they were going to do it. From the first pass. Down, timeout called, everybody's lined up, second pass to Kelsey, everything that he did down. I mean, it was just perfection. It was like the attention to detail, the small details was there for Kansas City. Even in the, after Buffalo took the lead, which what you thought was the game winner, and you left them 2 minutes, but my goodness, they had to go score a touchdown against the number one defense. Oh, they did. No big deal. I mean, just all of it. But both of those teams, attention to detail until the final drive, Buffalo with a couple of defensive brain farts. I don't understand what they were trying to do defensively there, giving the middle of the field when Kansas City has timeouts. They just gave it to them.
Well, that was the difference between what Kansas City, the opportunity they have, and the opportunity that Dallas had. Dallas had no timeouts.
Exactly.
Kansas City did. So that makes a huge difference. The other thing about those two football teams, Jason, 4 penalties in the entire ball game.
Yeah.
That's it. 4. I mean, that says a lot right there. Penalties are killers, as Cowboy fans know. And it speaks to discipline. It does.
Accountability, and discipline and attention to detail and all the little things.
Yep.
And you saw it from Cincinnati to a degree. You saw it from Tennessee.
Sure.
I mean, Tennessee played a hell of a football game, minus 3 stupid plays from your quarterback.
Yes.
That you spent all last week trying to tell me how good he was.
Well, I was trying to tell you that he was a game manager, and had he been a game manager and not made those mistakes, then we're talking about Tennessee and Kansas City in Nashville this week.
Exactly. But no, it's Cincinnati, and then you just look. I mean, even the Rams. The Rams had a lot of dumb turnovers.
Yep.
But for the most part, played a hell of a football game, minus the turnovers. And I don't know. I mean, Kupp fumbled, Akers, that snap that went by Matt Stafford after you got a fumble.
Yep.
It was bizarre, but outside of the turnovers, and I realize how it sounds as I'm saying it, but they played a hell of a football game, but their mistakes let Tampa Bay keep make it interesting at the end.
They absolutely did. I hope that, you can't do this anymore. There's an old story about, that Vince Lombardi made his running back, was it Donnie? You know what I'm talking about.
Sure.
Yeah. And a long time ago.
Story time with Joe.
He had a fumbling problem.
Back in my day.
So Lombardi told him that for the entire week, he had to carry a football with him, no matter what he was doing. And if he ever was caught without the foot, he was going to get fined.
Yep.
Solved his problem.
Well, and I'll
Cam
tell you,
Akers needs to do that this week.
When we were in high school, our running back had a game where he fumbled a couple of times. We lost. Now we sucked anyway, but we lost to the Killeen Kangaroos, and then the whole next week, Pat had to walk around with a football all through school. But every football player was supposed to punch it out and see how often he could hang on to the ball. So you would see him in the hall. Boom! You'd run up behind him. I mean, So yeah, and Akers just kept giving away. I guess Sony Michel hurt in the doghouse, whatever it was. 656 ESPN 656-3776. Let's go to the Kia Bossa Bacon phone lines because Joe, it always comes back to the Dallas Cowboys.
Always does.
Daniel, you're on the Blitz. What's up, man?
Hey, first of all, I just want to say I love the show, guys. I listen to you all the time. But my question is going back to the Cowboys. With Randy Gregory, do you guys think that the Cowboys will sign him or let him go, or what? Because I think with him and D-Law and Michael Parsons, those 3 guys, man, they're just a dynamic duo.
Daniel, unless Randy Gregory gets a ridiculous offer like Robert Quinn did a couple of years ago from the Chicago Bears, he'll be back. Jerry Jones has invested far too much time, energy, and money off the field to help Randy, that you finally get a good season out of him, a full season out of him, no trouble, nothing. They're not going to let him walk now. He's finally the player that they thought he was going to be when Jerry started on that journey with him.
It's going to be interesting to see if he does get that offer. Does Jerry match it? How much money is Jerry willing to spend on Randy Gregory? Because the way he played this year, you think he'll get some interest.
He will get some interest. I would like to think, but I understand the business that they're in. I would like to think that Randy will give every opportunity, even if it's a little bit less than what somebody else is offering, to stay with the Dallas Cowboys. Even if it's one of those ridiculous contracts where it's going to get reworked in 2 years because Randy owes a career to Jerry Jones.
He does, but he's missed out on a lot of money because of the things that he's done.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's his fault.
Yeah,
Nobody else's fault but his.
I got to, if Jerry didn't believe in him and fight for him,
it'd be done.
He wouldn't be in the league right now.
True.
I mean, there's not a lot of teams that are willing to do that. It's kind of like, who was the guy they brought in last year? Why am I going blank? It was with the 49ers, former first-round pick that they
Aldon Smith.
I mean, Jerry will give opportunities to some, but you've got to be willing to do it. And when Aldon Smith didn't come back, you realize that's a guy that if Jerry doesn't believe in you, ain't nobody else going to give you another opportunity, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's very true. So Randy Gregory's going to have some opportunities, but you got to figure he's back.
And we got plenty of Randy Gregory segments lined up for February, March, April, until all that begins, because he's a big part of the Cowboys offseason rebuild. But we're talking about the incredible play from this weekend, and we'll continue the conversation with Clint Stoerner coming up here on the Blitz. First, let me tell you about Garageization. I can't believe it's already been 2 years since I moved into my new house, but it has been. And, one of the things when I first moved in, my garage is smaller, and I'm going to park both cars in the garage. I needed an organization solution, and I finally found it with a company called Garageization. They came out to the house, talked about different needs that I had and what I wanted to spend, and we found the solution. And, I've got these industrial shelves that they put in, which are great because you've got your long-term storage, but they have these adjustable bars underneath that you can hang stuff from. So the versatility is there. My garage, extremely organized. My neighbor, who actually turned me on to Garageization, he's got some overhead rack slat walls. His garage is fantastic. You talk about garage envy. You want that? Call Garageization, 210-664-4494. You can talk to them about shelves, overhead racks, closed storage, slat walls. Make your garage functional for the entire family. Think about the kids' bikes, both cars, your golf clubs, and all the other stuff. Garageization can make it happen for you. Since 2008, the veteran-owned Garageization has been helping San Antonians love their garage. Call them. They will give you a customized plan for your garage. The website, garageorganizationsanantonio.com. That's garageorganizationsanantonio.com.
We got Clint Stoerner, former Cowboys quarterback, coming up right after a SportsCenter update with James Pledger.
Thanks, Joe. Speaking of the Texans, maybe we'll ask them about the Texans getting a request for a second interview with Eagles defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon, who, according to lead sources, say Gannon knocked it out of the park in his first interview with the Texans. Speaking of head coaching interviews, Cowboys defensive coordinator Dan Quinn is reportedly the favorite for both the Broncos and the Bears job in their open head coaching vacancies. In the NBA, the San Antonio Spurs went 0-2 over the weekend, falling to the Nets and the 76ers last night, as they'll return to action tomorrow when they take on the Rockets. While tonight, the Texas Tech Red Raiders face fourth-ranked Kansas. Tip-off is set for 8 o'clock, and that game will be televised on ESPN. I'm James Pledger for San Antonio Sports Star.
Are you thinking about selling your car? Don't get tricked with 2-minute offers only to spend 4 hours at a dealership. I want you to check out my friends at Car Zeus. It's Rudy J here. Car Zeus is not a dealership, so you don't need to worry about shady sales tactics just to lure you in the door. I'm talking about saving you time and hassle. Simply fill out a form about your car's condition at carzeus.com, and a local agent will text you an offer during business hours. No obligation. Plus, they pay the same day and even provide a courtesy Lyft ride home. That's carzeus.com.
70% of the Fortune 100 choose Zoom. With phone, chat, workspaces, apps, events, and video in a single platform, Zoom powers all your communications. Large enterprises, small businesses, and individuals use the secure Zoom platform to enable new ways of working, learning, hosting events, and supporting their customers. And now you can save 15% on meetings, chat, and phone with the Zoom United bundle. Visit zoom.com/bundle. Zoom, how the world connects.
Jackson Hewitt needs you to know 3 things about filing taxes this year. 1, there are thousands of dollars worth of new tax credits on the table. 2, you have to file for them to make sure you get the right amount. 3, a Jackson Hewitt Tax Pro will help track down every credit you deserve. Tax credits for being a parent, taking care of a parent, going to school, and so much more. You don't want to miss out on thousands. Jackson Hewitt knows that. Discover thousands in tax credits and get your biggest refund guaranteed. Learn more at jacksonhewitt.com.
Guys, stop what you're doing. Give me a few seconds of your time and let me give you a piece of advice that will change your love life forever. Have you noticed you've been losing a little pep in your step? Has your lady friend asked you, is everything okay? Do you find yourself having trouble rising for the occasion? Do you stress out before that special moment and wonder, is it gonna work? Guys, I'm going to let you in on a big secret. You don't ever have to worry again. The Mojo Male Enhancement Formula has you covered. Mojo is the 100% guaranteed male enhancement formula that guarantees lasting success, if you know what I mean. The Mojo Male Enhancement Formula is safe, natural, and effective every single time, guaranteed. Mojo is available in a fast-acting spray and a quick-action capsule. Do yourself and her a favor and call Pure Line Nutrition in San Antonio today. They'll get you set up for success. Call 210-494-2210. That number again is 210-494-2210. Mojo Male Enhancement, only available at Pure Line Nutrition.
I want a new laptop for the new year, but I'm working with last year's budget.
It's possible at Staples.
How about a PC that can manage my workload at a price I can manage?
Also possible. Your local Staples has the innovative tech and tools you need to take on the future of work. This week, get the Lenovo IdeaPad 5i with Intel i5 processor for just $549.99. You save $180. Explore what's new at Staples, the working and learning store. Ends 1/29/22. Limit 2. In-store only.
O'Reilly. This is Derek's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
After the third time jump-starting my car, I finally realized my battery was dying. So I stopped by O'Reilly to have it checked. They tested it right there in the parking lot. It was bad, real bad. But they helped me find the right battery for my car and even installed it for free. Now my car starts like new.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hey, Carrie, we need that tax report by tomorrow. Hey, Bobby, give me that expenses.
For Hari's accounting firm, client growth is
I know
exponential.
we're a couple of accountants short.
He
but-
needs whip-smart accountants at whiplash speed.
Hey, so why aren't these receivables matching up?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Second takes. The Blitz with Joe Reinagel and Jason Minix. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. He is Joe Reinagel. I'm Jason Minix. Incredible weekend of playoff football in the NFL, all 4 games. Showing some incredible quarterback play. Well, except maybe one.
Yeah, except
San
one.
Francisco Green Bay didn't show incredible quarterback play, and your Tennessee Titans showed crappy quarterback play. Let's talk about it with a guy that played quarterback in the NFL. Clint Stoerner, former Cowboy quarterback, now does radio down on Sports Radio 610 in Houston. Clint, man, nobody is short of content on this Monday.
Boy, ain't that the truth, man? We were blessed with some really good football. Even I heard you guys just talking there in the intro. Even the games that consisted of poor quarterback play, boy, they were nail biters. You know, it wasn't poor enough quarterback play where it allowed one team or the other to separate and get the game to a point where it wasn't interesting to watch. So. At least the poor quarterback play kept us interested in that particular game. So, but yeah, what a weekend, man! What a weekend in the NFL. That was fun.
All right, Clint, I know you're being nice, but Ryan Tannehill, all he has to do is manage the game with their defense, their running game. Just manage the game. You don't have to do anything. And he's trying to be Superman on that last drive. I was going to pull my hair out.
Yeah, here's the thing: is I'm a bigger fan of Ryan Tannehill than most people are, but there's no denying he was bad. He was bad this weekend, and when you're in the playoffs, you get paid the big bucks, and you're the starter. You're the guy that they're hanging their hat on. You get paid to not have bad days in January, and damn sure not in February if you make it that far. So. It was a bad outing, and there's no defense to it. I will say this: I found it very interesting, and when you get to the playoffs, these are the kind of conversations that ultimately that ultimately need to be had, right, is obviously two really good football teams. But when it came down to cutting time, what did we see the Cincinnati Bengals do? Joe Burrow found a way versus what appeared to be a cover 2 man to run a double move route to Jamar Chase to help them win the ball game. And you look at what Tennessee did. Tennessee gets the ball back, and Tannehill throws an interception trying to force the ball to number 15. I can't even remember the kid's name. He's got a dual last name. But instead of throwing to future Hall of Famer Julio Jones or obvious, young, great wide receiver A.J. Brown, we're working to try to get the ball to 15. And so during the regular season, you can get away with that stuff. But during playoff football, when it's cutting time, those are things you just can't afford to do. One team did it well in Cincinnati, and the other team did it poorly in Tennessee, and you see who won the game.
What does it say about a quarterback in Joe Burrow who can get sacked 9 times and still go 28 of 37 for 348?
How about that? I mean, in a day or a Monday, a reaction Monday, where we're talking about the freaks of the position, Pat Mahomes and Josh Allen, ultimately, as big a story is what's going on with Joe Burrow. I mean, we're living in a day and age, Jay, where everybody wants to talk about, oh man, if you don't have the next Pat Mahomes, the next Josh Allen, good luck winning in the NFL in 2022 and beyond. And Joe Burrow's back there raising his hand and saying, fellas, I got average to below average arm strength. I'm average to below average athlete. And I'm going out there and helping my team win ball games and throwing up numbers that not many in the NFL are at this point in time. So, look, Joe Burrow's got that swagger that we all love. That you can separate his swagger from arrogance. I mean, it's confidence. It's likable. I really like what this dude's doing. And clearly, when you look at his game, he's just one of those next in line of just elite processors, man. The Drew Breeses, the Tom Brady's, the greats that played the game with limited talent, relatively speaking. They were high level processors, man. And that sucker right there is doing it at that level. I don't know if he can do it for 10 or 15 or 20 years like those Hall of Famers did, but he's damn sure doing it right now.
When you look at that, and you mentioned the Kansas City Buffalo game, and what an incredible performance by both of those quarterbacks. But I saw a tweet, Clint, that you put out, I think it was this morning, about the overtime rules. What is your thought process on the current rules, and how would you change it?
Well, one, I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with what they're doing now. I think it's better than where they were. That the sudden death, it's better than the sudden death. I do not think that's why Buffalo lost that football game. But I think from the outside looking in, they can do better. I think you make it the 15-minute quarter like they did. You allow each team a possession, and once each team has had a possession, it becomes sudden death. If it's still tied at that moment, it becomes sudden death, and the next field goal or the next score or the next safety, whatever it may be, it wins the ball game. I just got to believe, guys, that there's a better way to play overtime football than for you and me as consumers to sit over there and watch Josh Allen pull his hair out and never get an opportunity to touch leather beyond the coin flip. I just got to believe there's a better way. Nothing wrong with it now. Not bad. I just believe it can be better.
Yeah, Clint, as we visit with Clint Stoerner here on the Blitz, I'm 100%, I think, with you on this. I know what the rule is, but as a football fan, I'm not a Bills fan. I just felt cheated last night. If I were a Bills fan, knowing that my quarterback never got an opportunity in overtime, I'm beside myself today. If that would have been the Cowboys on the other end, our phone lines would be lit up the entire day that Roger Goodell has to change the rule. And I know what the rule is, but I just feel cheated as a football fan. Now, yeah, man, defense, make a stop. You got the number one defense. Don't let them get into field goal range with 13 seconds left. Squib it. There's lots of things that you could point to as a Bills fan, but as a football fan, I just felt like we were cheated a little last night.
Well, look, Jay, the only thing that's saving really this conversation from being a heated conversation is the special teams coach not squibbing that kick and Leslie Frazier not being prepared down the stretch there and allowing them to go 44 yards in 10 seconds. 2 plays, 10 seconds. I mean, that is inexcusable. That's a fireable offense. That just can't happen to Leslie Frazier, who's been in this game, defensive coordinator for a long time. He's been a head coach. Hell, he's a head coach candidate as we speak. That just cannot happen. That's the biggest takeaway from the weekend for me is how in the hell Leslie Frazier wasn't prepared for that moment. But if Buffalo, because we hear from a lot of Buffalo fans on social media and via the text line. I don't know how, but I guess there's a lot in the Houston area. But boy, they are hot about, hey, we don't want to hear anything about overtime rules. Hell, we should have never got there. It shouldn't. It's more about the defense. So that the way that unfolded is actually saving the NFL from getting absolutely attacked by Bills Mafia, if you will, about overtime rules.
Just though, all of that aside, Clint, when you look at the play of those two young men, I mean, my jaw fell open. I don't know how many times watching that game last night. Those two players are just incredible and so much fun to watch.
Well, look, I'll argue, and I said this last week, I think, when I was on with you guys. I think Josh Allen is the most difficult quarterback to game plan for a defensive coordinator because they can run the power run game with him sitting at 245, 250. I mean, he outruns DBs, so anything on the edges, he's a threat. Any kind of scramble, extending plays, he's a threat. And then obviously from an arm talent and an arm strength standpoint, I mean, he's as good as there is. And so I think he's the most difficult to game plan for. And then I think when you're actually in the moment, there's nobody better right now than Pat Mahomes with the things that he can do. And he showed last night that he's a little bit more athletic than I think. I know I've given him credit for. Last night he made a couple of runs that were awfully impressive. So look, there's those two guys. It's must-see TV. It's definitely the next Brady, Manning, if you will, and not talking about the type of play or the skill set, but just the hype that's around those two guys when they do meet up, man. Last night was, I know my co-host on Sports Radio 16 in Houston, he said it took over the number one spot for him in terms of most entertaining games, and it overtook the USC Texas game back in the day when Vince Young brought him back. So it's a game that's in that conversation. There's no question.
Clint Stoerner joining us here on the Blitz, former Cowboy quarterback, now does radio down in Houston on Sports Radio 610. Clint, on the NFC side, the story is about now the future of Tom Brady, but Matt Stafford, Dan Orlovsky is the only guy giving that guy plenty of love. What did you think of Matt Stafford's game yesterday?
Well, Matt's another one that I'm not quite as high on him as Dan is, but I definitely didn't buy into all the hate that was being pushed his direction. I think you can cherry pick moments this season with his first year in the McVay's offense, and it was his first year with these receivers. You could cherry pick moments when he struggled, but I mean, anybody worth their salt, I think, could see that the kid could play. I mean, he's obviously a extremely talented. In fact, we should probably include him in conversations of the top arm talents and top arm strengths in the NFL right now. He's that good. But look, it was great to see him, play big when the stage was the biggest, the lights were the brightest. Because if anybody in the playoffs deserves it, guys, I mean, multiple years in Detroit will actually kill a man. So if anybody deserved it, it was him. It was really good to see, man.
No question. All right, Clint, when we talk to you next week, who are we going to be talking about going to the Super Bowl?
Oh wow, man! I hope at this point it's Kansas City and LA. I think that's your best matchup. I think for everybody that's the sexiest matchup. But personally, I had picked Cincinnati and Tampa Bay, and now that Tampa Bay is out, they were my I guess more of a favorite, and Cincinnati was my Cinderella. I'm personally pulling for Cincinnati, and I hope they win. I do think they got an outside shot at Kansas City. They're a big time dog, and I hope they pull it off. But if you're putting me on the spot and making me bet on it, man, I would bet Kansas City, LA, and a Rams Chiefs matchup.
And when we talk to you next Monday, Clint, are the Texans going to have a new head coach yet, or are they still interviewing everybody?
God, I hope not, man, because I think one of the look, this Jonathan Gannon kid is our guy. I guess he's not a kid. He's getting a second interview. They announced today that was the most recent news for us down here in Houston. And look, I think I think a lot of teams, I think several teams have shown that he's a head coach caliber and could be a good hire for somebody one day. I think the big thing in Houston is at this point not who they hire, but how they handle the process. And right now, they just flat out cannot hire a head coach with the list of 5 or 6 head coaches that they've interviewed, including Hines Ward, Josh McCown, Joe Lombardi, Brian Flores. Like, they can't hire a head coach and never interview anybody other than Kevin O'Connell out of the Rams, out of McVay and Shanahan's tree, or Andy Reid's tree. They just flat can't afford to make that decision and hire a head coach until they flip every stone, and they're nowhere near it. So, Jay, I don't think they're close to hiring a head coach.
Good stuff. Clint Stoerner from Sports Radio 610 down in Houston, former Cowboy quarterback. Always appreciate the knowledge, my friend. We'll talk soon.
All right, you boys be good, man. Take care.
Appreciate it. They'll probably hire a coach Wednesday.
They probably will. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, you hear all that? No, they can't. They can't.
It's the Texans.
Yeah.
After all.
I know it.
Oh, man. Love talking to Clint.
He's good stuff. I hope he goes to LA. I'll have to find out if he's going out there.
Absolutely.
He's fun to
he's fun.
Party with.
We're going to work, Jason. Come on. It's all about work. Work.
Work hard, play hard. I'm telling you, Super Bowl's a whole different animal. You need about 15-hour energy.
Yeah.
You'll drink 3 of those a day.
3 a day.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll stock up.
It's going to be a whole lot of fun. Man, what a great weekend of football. We'll wrap up. I can't believe we're done with this show already.
Ben. It was incredible. So much to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll continue the conversation as we continue here on the Blitz. First, let me tell you about AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody ever plans on getting arrested, but it does happen to a lot of people every day for all kinds of reasons. Whether it's you, a family member, a friend of yours, somebody you know gets arrested, you want to get out of jail fast. Best way to do that, call my good friend Albert and his great staff at AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text BAIL to 474747, or you can even start the bonding process online at mybestbailbonds.com. Nobody beats their price. They offer payment plans, a free shuttle service. They're discreet and confidential and open 24/7 with offices all over San Antonio and Texas, services nationwide. Whether you're up in Dallas, down in Corpus, in the Valley, anywhere in between, AA Best Bail Bonds for stress-free bail bonds. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else, and you don't want to be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you a PR bond, make sure you truly understand what those conditions are before accepting it. Call AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121, or online at mybestbailbonds.com.
The Paul Feinbaum Show.
I got more football knowledge than my little finger than you got between them 2 big dumbbells on your ear, buddy.
Tomorrow afternoon at 2, San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Hi, everyone. Michael Kielbasa with Kielbasa Smoked Meats here. When you bring a package of our smoked sausage home, keep it simple. It's handcrafted in small batches and fully cooked, so you can just heat it up and enjoy. My favorite way to eat it is on a bun with mustard or wrapped in a tortilla. Try some from a store near you today, and if it's not the best you've ever tasted, I'll give you your money back. Guaranteed. Find Kielbasa at a store near you today.
Hello, Discover here to explain our cash back match. Here's how it works. We give you cash back for using your Discover card on the things you were going to buy anyway. Then we match that cash back in your first year. And that's why we call it Cashback Match. Now to recap and say cashback one more time. We match all the cashback you've earned at the end of your first year automatically. Discover. Exceptionally common sense. Learn more at discover.com/match. Limitations apply.
Joel, I'm committed to getting into shape, working out, exercising every day.
Great idea, little fat buddy.
I've invented the perfect exercise machine. It's practical, efficient, and fits in any home. I give you the Row and Go. Ta-da!
The Row and Go?
It's a rowing machine that connects to your toilet, so you can row and...
Stop. Folks, at Quarter Moon Plumbing, Heat, and AC will help homes, schools, offices, and buildings stay in tip-top shape. Every plumbing issue, every AC problem, it's our mission to fix them as fast as we can at a fair price. From the penthouse to the outhouse, call Quarter Moon 651-5899.
The Row and Go. It's going to change the way we exercise. And here's my tagline, Row and Go. It's fitness while you do your fitness.
Make it stop.
Quarter Moon Plumbing and AC, 651-5899. That's 651-5899.
License number M13229, TACLA 000743458E.
Injuries happen, so if you twist, pull, pop, or snap something, you need Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Dr. Espinosa treats all non-surgical orthopedic injuries and has same-day and next-day availability. Telemedicine services are also available. There is no reason to be in pain. If you are hurting, visit Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Learn more at TSAOG.com. That's TSAOG.com, or schedule your appointment by calling 210-804-5490.
We will buy no used car before it's time. We will pay the top money because we know exactly what we're doing at GiveMeTheVin.com. We've bought $1 billion with a B of used cars from you guys in 2021 already because this used car market's on fire. $1 billion in volume. We're paying so much, it's scary. Only at GiveMeTheVin.com.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
If it's rim wrecking board busting action you want, then come and get it.
Catching a right-hand dunk.
The greatest ballers on earth are doing their thing on the hard court, and we bring it to you. Catch the action on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Hey, this is Rob Thompson on your home for Rangers baseball. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Now, tomorrow we'll find out who's going in the Hall of Fame for baseball.
We will. I don't think Roger Clemens' name will be on there, or Barry Bonds.
So we'll argue about why they should be tomorrow on the Blitz. Which is, that debate. And hopefully the Players Union and Major League Baseball will figure all this stuff out. We don't have to deal with a lockout.
I want to talk Cowboys football tomorrow. We never talk Cowboys football, Jason. Come on.
It's rare. But we'll work it in.
I'm sure we'll find something.
We'll figure it out. I mean, I think somebody went and got a pedicure and a manicure of the weekend. So, I mean, that's 3 segments right there, as they prepare for the off season.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Well, I mean, already, right? The Cowboys are back in the news with the speculation of Sean Payton perhaps leaving New Orleans, and who knows, maybe he falls in Dallas.
It is interesting, although as much as I'd like to see Sean Payton coach the Cowboys, just anybody but Mike McCarthy at this point, right? But Sean Payton, what could he do with the Dak Prescott? And maybe he's, I don't know, a consultant, whatever that means. You just get the sense that his time in New Orleans is up. You got Brady making a decision, Aaron Rodgers making a decision, and now you've got the owner of the New Orleans Saints talking about Sean Payton like he's one of those players. We're talking about the head coach of your football team, and the owner at an event this weekend, Gail Benson, just answers the question like, yeah, we'll figure it out.
No, Sean, we don't know. Who knows? We'll find out soon enough, I guess. I don't think any of us know, but he'll let us know soon enough.
He'll let us know soon enough. I think she was at wine night with your wife over the weekend. I mean, listening to her, it's your head coach. How do you not know?
Well, maybe that's the first she heard about it. By that reporter, it's like, oh no,
that's
I got to play it cool, right? I got to play it cool. So
bigger problem.
Yeah, she's playing it cool.
I mean, but so you've got that storyline. What it would mean for the Cowboys. I mean, Shereen Williams will be on with us tomorrow. We'll talk to her about it. I mean, she's as plugged in with both those, and Jane Slater on Wednesday because she covers the Saints and the Cowboys
that's
for
right. That's
NFL
right.
Network. So, I mean, this isn't a story that's going to go away, and I think Gail Benson's answer and the way she answered it throws flames onto that fire. I mean, it's kerosene getting added to that fire. I mean, now all of a sudden, it's lead story on ESPN.com, Yahoo, all of them, because an answer like that from your owner, if you're a Saints fan, you go, well, he gone.
Yeah, you got to figure that that's
he's
probably that he's gone, and maybe he's already told. I hope he has, or I hope he's already related to Gail Benson. Because look, that's obviously a huge piece to your puzzle, right? And there's a lot of coaches' jobs available right now, and so if he's going to be another one where the Saints have another opening, I mean, then you get busy, right? You heard the Texans are doing everybody a favor because they're only interviewing guys you've never heard of, basically. So that's good.
Oh, man. Why do you got to knock McCown that way? I mean, he's played for everybody, former Sam Houston State Bearcat.
So can you imagine, and I would just want to know from our resident Texan fan in there or anybody else that's a Houston Texan fan, can you imagine if they were to hire a guy like McCown?
Oh, they did with David Culley.
Well,
I mean, let's be honest.
But I think that was planned. It was a temporary deal.
Sure. And whoever they hire right now is going to be a temporary deal.
You think so?
Well, yeah.
Why? Why do you think that? I mean, they've got to do something with some permanency, if that's a word.
I think my tune on that will change when I see the draft haul, the picks that they get for Deshaun Watson. And if I'm one of these guys interviewing, I want to know more about where we at with Deshaun.
Mm-hmm.
I know the stories are you want 3 1s and a couple of 2s and a couple of large pizzas and whatever. But what do you think you're really getting? What have people told you when they've talked to you about Deshaun?
Yeah.
Because that's an organization with the right coaching hire and the picks that they get. If you trust Nick Caserio to draft the right guys, that could be a very quick turnaround for the Houston Texans.
Well, I think that's key. Do you trust?
With everybody that I've heard they're interviewing outside of Brian Flores, there is zero trust or confidence that Nick Caserio and Jack Easterby will get this right.
Yeah, I don't think so. And usually when you bring guys in for a second interview, Jason, you've exhausted your list. Now you're going back to the guys that you wanted. And so it looks like you may be right.
Watch Joe tonight at 10 on Ken's TV. Wake up with Rob and Rudy tomorrow morning at 7 for R&R in the morning. Back with more of the Blitz tomorrow. And Roger Clemens in the Hall of Fame.
It's time to get your hoops on. The NBA season is off to a